Welcome to another edition of the RF Video Shoot Interview Series. This man needs no introduction at all. Of course, we're sitting here in an amazing set. Thanks for having us in New York, his hometown.
I ain't in New York.
New Jersey, close enough.
When Sinatra was singing New York, New York, he wasn't in New York. He was looking at it. We're on the Gold Coast. Welcome to my hood, kid.
It's amazing.
People have gotten hit for less. You know that?
Really?
You know, we're in Jersey. Let's get it right.
New Jersey. We are here in New Jersey with Enzo Amore, probably one of the best talkers in the business.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Thank you for that high compliment. I just got to say, I showed up today. 20,000 hours first. 20,000 hours first. Who else you got doing RF videos wearing 20,000 hours first?
Absolutely nobody.
Nobody else is wearing 20,000 hours first.
Nobody else.
I know that for a fact.
Well, I love this. I love this room. It's magical to be
honest. Thank you. I'm glad that we could have you today. It's a slight reveal as to what I've been up to lately. As you can clearly see here, I've been up to something.
Teaching guys how to blade, right?
How you doing? You know, that hand right there, you better watch out. Huh. You know, that's the kiss. That right there is the disc kiss. You know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The disc kiss.
You don't want to mess with that. I get it.
This one's the one you got to worry about. That's my microphone lightsaber hand. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm smack talking Skywalker and I got a mic saber for a hater. And I got to give a big shout out to, real quick, some of my biggest fans who have been supporting me through thick and thin for this past year. They show up. They travel thousands of miles at times to come say what's up.
I met them.
Katie, what's up? Sophia and her family, Frank. All right? They hand-deliver me peaches to my family's doorstep. All right? They're from the hood. They're out in Brooklyn. Good people. How you doing? Enzo, a little boy maybe the world's familiar with. He had leukemia, and he beat the hell out of it. He gave it a 1-2 bang. That guy is a stud. Bona fide. No question. Enzo, you might be aware of who he is from the Undercover Boss episode with Stephanie McMahon. He wore a certified,
I do remember, yep.
He wore a certified GT shirt while I was highly scrutinized. He was a little kid, and that is the only regret I have in the history of the business. So if you ever ask me about regret or anything I've ever done in my life, regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention, as Frank would say. The only regret I have with the falling out, losing my job, was that I did a Make-A-Wish Foundation with that little boy Enzo, and that was the best day of my life.
We'll talk about all that for sure.
So big shout out to Enzo. I hope you're hanging in there, kid. I talked to him on Christmas, and then a shout out to Destiny, who, if you ever watch my Instagram, you see me running in with Destiny. She's a little girl, high spirit. She's rides in a wheelchair, but I'll tell you what, she's rolling gold, girl. That girl is a star waiting to happen. So big shout out to Destiny and her dad and her whole family.
Let's talk about your life growing up in New Jersey.
How you doing?
So we're not in New York, we're in New Jersey. Were you a wrestling fan growing up?
Loved it. So
how did you discover it?
I had older cousins, the same older cousins that told me, hey, bro, when you're 18, dude, anything that you've done gets expunged. Doesn't matter. Good cousins. But they brought me to wrestling shows when I was a kid. I first saw them playing with action figures like we have there. And that Shawn Michaels toy right there is literally the be-all, end-all of my childhood. So I slept with that toy. I took him on vacation, on airplane ride. Disney, the only airplane I ever took really in my life before I went to, the WWE. Because I had humble beginnings out here in Jersey. And that action figure and them $20 tickets to, the Continental Airlines Arena, Madison Square Garden, my pop, my grandfather. We saw Diesel beat Bob Backlund in 8 seconds. All right? We were there for that. We were there for the click curtain call. My grandma Ray, Raffaella, R.I.P. She was a big Dusty Rhodes fan. So wrestling I loved as a child, and then like most late teenagers, you go to college. And in college, I went to school where John Cena went to school at Springfield College in Massachusetts as a freshman, because my high school quarterback went there. And my high school quarterback, shout out Joe Harasimiak, National Coach of the Year at the University of Maine.
Right.
So think about that backfield. Quarterback becomes National Coach of the Year, D1 AA, and his running back goes on to be 2-time Cruiserweight champ. How you doing?
So when you were in college, did you want to go on to the NFL? Was that your aspirations, or?
No, I wanted to be a wrestler at 18.
So you knew you wanted to be a pro wrestler early on?
Oh, yeah. I think I just, in college, it was just so far out of the distance because I knew I had to get a degree. that I just lost touch with it and just wasn't, until I graduated college. I was like, wait, how do you do that? How do you become a pro wrestler? Like, what does it take? Where do you go? And then it just all fell in my lap, bro. I can't make it up.
Now in college, you had a degree in journalism, I believe.
So I wrote for the school newspaper and I played college football. So I got kicked out of Springfield College for being too awesome. I spent a year working on the trucks in a moving business, which all my homies still do that now. Shout out Mav, shout out Mikey, shout out Lenny, shout out all my people. You see me? And we were working on the trucks, and my dad was like, yeah, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you're wasting away.
Did you have a gift of the gab back then?
So yeah, so growing up and playing college football, I worked out at this gym, DeFranco's gym. And Joe DeFranco, shout out Joe. I owe that guy everything. Because when I was 17, working out with Brian Cushing, who went on to be NFL Rookie of the Year, 9-year fucking career in the NFL. This guy was a stud. He worked out in high school. I was a big name in high school locally for football. 1,000-yard guy. How you doing? Used to play against Victor Cruz, which is actually the first time Big Cass ever saw me. He was from Barstool Sports, posting an article when the Giants were going to the Super Bowl. I had a video go viral on me talking smack about Victor Cruz and tackling him in high school football, and I showed the clip.
Right.
And people went ham, like, look at this guy in his mom's basement. You know what I mean? It was funny though. But Big Cass, when I came for my tryout, was like, dude, you're that guy from Barstool Sports. So he already knew who I was right there. That whole tidbit about me and him meeting him on a basketball court as a kid was just a lie we ran with. Yeah, it was a work.
Gotcha.
So, backtrack. I go to college. I get kicked out. I'm sitting at home. A college that, traded tape with Springfield College because they both ran the triple option offenses. They called them and they were like, yo, there's this kid. He sits at home. He got kicked out of college for beating up a kid who raped a girl. Little thing nobody knows about Enzo. Straight up, man. So the kid played lacrosse. The girl took him to court, but I got into a fight with the kid because she came to my room crying. And she told me and my roommate, and we went and took care of it. And the next day, police roll up. Everybody's locked up in jail. My dad gets a phone call from me. We get bailed out. It was crazy. But then the school was so scared to have this go public that they settled with dropping the charges on us. And this kid was fighting a case, so he needed money and settled out of court. So I'm sitting at home now. So this college called this other college and was like, hey, there's a kid sitting at home. He's a good kid. He needs a shot. So they called me, and my dad was like, you're going. No choice. And I was like, damn. So here we are. I pack up and I go to Salisbury, Maryland. I never heard of it in my life. I knew that when I went to Springfield College, I went to school for lifting weights. All right? Exercise science. Little be known to me, you go to school for science, you got to do math.
Right.
I used to take the tests for math, crumple them up, shoot them in a basketball hoop in high school, put my head down. I'm like, no chance. But I had a gift in writing and communication. So I went to school for journalism, and I wrote for the school newspaper in area of politics and theater. So I would sit in on the theaters and write the reviews. So when I first went in there, they were like, you're writing sports, right? You play football. I'm like, hell no. What are you talking about, I got the gig and made the best of it. I got pulled over a couple times in college, dropped a few names, having to wear, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Knowing all the political runnings, who you're affiliated with, might help right now. But, man, I stumbled into my opportunity in the WWE unlike anybody in the history of our business. I'm blessed.
Before you got to the WWE, you had a little bit of odd jobs. You worked as a DJ, which isn't really odd.
My father's a DJ.
Okay.
So my father is a DJ. That's why I tattooed this microphone on my hand before I was ever really screaming into it in front of thousands of people. That microphone that's on the desk right there on the table. My pops is a DJ. My uncle's a DJ. My cousin Jay, my cousin Davey. Everybody's a DJ in my family, and they run a business out here over the bridge, New York City and North Jersey, tri-state area, Connecticut. And he helped a lot of people out with music to get started that ended up translating into nightclubs. So I was well enveloped in the world and the scene of the Jersey Shore and this, that, and the other. And a tryout video that I made showed the Joe DeFranco is talking crap about the Jersey Shore because none of them guys were from Jersey. is how I got my opportunity, bro. But that's what happened. I was training with Brian Cushing and all these great athletes in high school throughout college. But when I was 17, I couldn't afford to train there because it cost a lot of money because these athletes are great and NFL guys train there. So I went to Joe DeFranco, who now trains Triple H, and I said, if I get you a symbol tattooed on my leg, well, I get a free lifetime membership. He's like, yeah, and laughs it off. I come back the next day, I got this tattooed DeFranco's gym on my thigh, like, free lifetime membership, right? Couldn't turn me down. Fast forward, I get out of college. I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do. How do you become a pro wrestler? I don't know. I walk into Hooters for a beer to think that over. And I asked the guy if, they're hiring. And he says, yeah. Next thing you know, they give me the keys. I'm 23 years old. I'm running Hooters restaurants in New Jersey.
With all the girls, too.
With all the girls. I mean, you can't make this up.
Right.
And I don't know what the hell happened. It was so good and crazy, but I knew that that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I made quick work of that job because I realized quickly that the front of house, the payments were based on, orderly wages and hourly wages, and mine is salary. So if I learned how to cook everything in the kitchen, I could cut the chefs. So I was back there like my grandpa, short order, Colin's Diner. Colin's Diner right over here in North Bergen. Union City, Jersey City, this whole area is where my family grew up. So I'm over there short order chefing at the Hooters, bro, dropping wings, running back, boom, boom, boom. And, we cut the costs and I get, this gig. And, one simple rule, we can hang out here, but no drinking, because if you want to drink, you need to pay for it.
Right.
And you do the right thing. And I never burnt no bridge, but I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler. When Joe got the phone call, he said, hey, bro, you're a big wrestling fan, because I used to go around the gym pretending to be his personality, EA all day.
Right.
And it was a pro wrestler. I'd get done hitting a bench set and I'd pop up and be like, how you doing? You know what I mean? EA all day. And Joe called me like, you ever heard of Paul Levesque? What? Yeah, why? He's called me, wants me to train him. I drop everything, dude.
You knew who he was.
I quit my job at Hooters.
Right.
I know Joe's my brother.
Yeah.
And he gets a phone call from Triple H. I quit my job at Hooters. I start DJing on the weekends, getting good on the mic. I start working on the moving trucks. And then for the next 5 months, I worked out hard in the gym. Started boxing and doing a little jiu-jitsu because I didn't know exactly how you get into the WWE. And through understanding of speaking with Joe, Joe was hearing from Triple H's mouth directly, like, if you got a guy who's an athlete at your gym who falls out of the NFL, let me know if he's worth the shit. I'm like, I ain't fall out of the NFL, but I played 4 years of college football, nothing big, nothing crazy, but a guy I played with is playing for the Washington Redskins right now. I mean, shoot, I just dropped what I was doing, and then my dad told me one simple thing when I quit my job at Hooters. He's like, don't ask me for $1, and you don't have to pay rent right now. And I'm like, oh shit, all right. So quit my job, dude. Little money I had saved up doing odd jobs and shit. Got a tryout in the WWE.
What was the tape? What was on the tape that you made?
So I made a tape of me lifting weights, talking smack that's still out on the internet. And at the end of it, I talk about the Jersey Shore. And, I say I'm EA all day, young blue eyes. Sinatra was singing New York, New York. He wasn't in New York. He was looking at it. As far as these Jersey Shore kids go, whatever, I'm the realest guy in a room everywhere that I go. You could put me in Giants Stadium, and I'm still the realest guy in a room. So they ain't made me who I am. They just found me like this, dog, as Drake would say, man. I was talking that shit, and then that was what impressed Triple H. So he went to the gym one day. And
personally came down to the gym.
He came to the gym to train, not to see Enzo.
Right.
Not to meet the schmuck that he just saw in a video in his mom's basement, right? So he came to the gym to train. And I just did like an extra, I went there like an hour early, dude. I did like an extra 50 sets just standing there waiting for him. And I was a lot bigger then, bro. And all you did was lift weights back then. So he comes in the gym and I wait. And then he's, I had heard from him a week earlier on the phone. He called me. And it was a direct phone call from Triple H. So we're going to give you a tryout with Joe on three-way. And I was like, oh my God. But he came to me, he said, we're going to...
And you had no wrestling background at all?
Zero wrestling, never been in a ring, nothing.
Did you know about the indie scene?
Knew nothing about indie wrestling.
Okay.
Didn't know what a shoot interview was. Didn't know about backstage politics. Didn't know anything about the world of wrestling.
So you're totally green to the business.
Bro, I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
I just know what I saw Shawn Michaels do on TV was awesome.
Right. Okay.
And The Rock and Stone Cold. And those were my three guys. Well, man, he comes to me, he says, my advice to you, don't sit in anybody's chair. Don't sit down. Shake everybody's hands. And don't say shit to anyone. And I was like, deal. So I went down. Pretty much what happened. But then I got my promo. I got my opportunity to do my promo. And speaking of promos, you know, I have a book here. Pages by the thousands. Promos written on napkins.
Crazy.
This one page right here is 12 pages. So one of these pages is 12 pages. I wrote this between 2012 and 2015 alone. What I've done between 2015 and 18 is on a computer, not printed. This
It's
is
bigger
pages,
than the RF video catalog.
and all the highlighted stuff, you know, fire. I've used most of it on TV if I've highlighted it, so I know not to say it
This is
again.
all stuff that you came off the top of your head?
Every single word in this book is written by me.
And you implemented them in different programs
Every
that you're
single
involved in?
thing that I've ever said, I either came with up on the fly or had in my back pocket because I wrote it in here.
Amazing.
Every single thing. When I did that, roast of the cruiserweights, that's
That was awesome.
that's thing that went very, very well, as far as views and ratings and stuff like that. I was on the fly completely. None of it was scripted, and the girls who were on before us went home early. So when you go home early, that means that you had an extra 4 minutes to wrestle,
Right.
and you didn't do it. So we had to go to the commercial break early. When we go to the commercial break early, that screws up the time that's allotted to the next segment. We're on the next segment in the main event for that roast battle thing, and all that's supposed to happen is when the cruiserweights come out to the ring, I dodge them and get in the ring. And before they're about to beat me up, Kurt Angle's music hits. But we had an extra 4 minutes. So now producers are running around with their heads unscrewed, freaking out, trying to figure out how they're going to get the time. What's going to fit in that time slot? How are we going to do it? I'm not freaking out at all. What do you mean? This is all I've ever wanted.
Right.
You guys are going to give me 4 minutes to talk? So I said to him, I got a microphone in my hand, and I got a contract that says no one can touch me. When I get in the ring, give me that 4 minutes, and then we'll call it on the fly.
And they trusted you, obviously.
Vince trusted me and gave me that 4 minutes to do it. Every person that I roasted in that roast, I was expecting to hear Kurt Angle's music at any moment. Because I don't have the time exactly in my head.
Right.
I do know what 4 minutes is off cut, but there's no referee in the ring relaying to me that there's 4 minutes left counting down for me. I'm in the ring with a microphone, so you got to know what 4 minutes is in your head. So as I'm going around this frickin' ring, as I go, they just keep letting me go. I'm like, okay. So then I get all the way around, and then finally I'm standing in the room with this contract. Like, are you ever gonna hit Kurt Angle's music? And they hit it, but that was uncuffed off the top, but it wasn't because I was prepared.
It's amazing.
I had written mostly those disses, except for maybe one or two. By the time I got to T.J. Perkins, I remember specifically because it was my favorite thing that I said. And I didn't have it written. So when I didn't have that written, and I have that, and I say that, that's the aha moment for a wrestler on a microphone. When it's not scripted, when you just came up with it in the ring in front of millions of people and thousands in the flesh, that's what you live for.
We're going to talk about your promos and stuff coming up. I want to ask you your tryout, going back to your tryout. What do you remember about your tryout? What did they have you do in the ring?
So the week of my tryout, I went down there to, it was in October of 2011. They had not yet to hire Bill DeMott as the head coach of NXT. They still had Doc down there. And Doc, Doc Pritchard was, Bruce Pritchard's brother, who has, done a lot in the business that I didn't know anything about this stuff then. I had a history briefing.
Right.
To say the least. Get thrown in a file. Learn about this. So I go down there, and I don't know nothing about wrestling, and I'm just me, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to hurt nobody.
Did the other guys did they like you right
hated me.
Okay. Because
The other guys are like, we've wrestled for 15 years, 10 years, 3 years, 5 years, breaking our back, bleeding on the indie scene, gigging ourselves, left mom and dad home at 18 and just told them I want to go do this and pursue a dream. And I can't, bro, when you see that and then you become a part of it and then you learn about it, then you're like, wow, bro, like the balls that it took for these guys to get here and what it took. So I get and I understand now why they're not so welcoming.
Right.
That's the wrestling world. That's the wrestling locker room. Long storied history, wrestling etiquette, and things that I'm completely not privy to. Picture me just taking somebody off the street that watch wrestling on TV and go, hey, here you go.
Right.
You know? So I go down there, shake everybody's hand. Everybody that walks in and out of the building. I'd done my little research before I went down there, looking shit up, so I didn't look like an asshole, and I knew who people's faces were and names. And, you know, I knew who Norman Smiley was as the Big Wiggle, so I worked with Norman that week. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm working with Norman Smiley. Like, this is awesome. And he's teaching me how to lock up, wrist locks, maneuvering, and taking bumps. Real simple stuff. And Doc was the man. But while I was there, I watched Doc. Well, I'm just sitting ringside, bro, and I'm in this place, bro, and I'll never forget. I'm like looking at the ring and the giant pictures of these guys, and here's a contract on the table for $500 or $600 a week. I'm making 2 times that in Jersey, doing odd jobs.
Right.
Like, bro, this is taking a hit in my pockets, paying credit card bills, college loans, $40,000, but this is the opportunity of a lifetime. So it's not about the money. So I'm going to take this thing and run shining sea with it. I'm going end zone to end zone if they give me this chance. So how could I do this? I never wrestled before. What are they going to judge me on with my promo? So, dude, I write this little promo because I know I'm only allowed 90 seconds. They told me that. So I try to squeeze every single possible word that I could fit into 90 seconds.
Right.
So it's basically like a rap, bro. It's like a rap. And my mind's crazy, so I might still remember it, bro. But what happened was I do the little wrestling. Then they have me work a match with C.J. Parker, who's Juice Robinson. And Juice, you know, straight suplex me, tackle, drop down, leapfrog, take a hip toss, work a headlock, suplex, he vertical suplex, pin me.
Did you have any background at all?
Never got in the ring before in my entire life.
So you just had to go out there and bump around?
I had to go out there, bump around, work a headlock. He just traded headlocks with me. And, you know, I'm moving. Dude, my idea is contact and combat. I played football. Wrestling is art, bro. It's grace. It's a dance. It's ballet. It's none of this. It's entertainment. It's how you move. It's Dusty Rhodes and that elbow, bro. Yep. Like, it's those things. It's putting swag and feng shui on your movement and making yourself different. Well, my opportunity to be different was in the promo. This is where I'm going to stick out. So I do that little match or whatever, and then they get the promo. Now, everybody comes to promo class every week. And everybody has to talk for 30 seconds to 90 seconds unless they do a skit with other wrestlers and get clearance for it. And then they get clearance and they talk about the creative behind it during the weekly process with a few guys like Rob Naylor, who you probably are aware of, who came up with Bray Wyatt's music, was a nice little guy. He taught me a lot about like the business and backstage early on. He was just a nice guy, you know, he was nice to me. And that was the thing, bro. Is I was just nice to people, and I think that I was never going to be able to explain what I was about to do to the people back home that I grew up with. And I had to swallow my pride when trying to explain that to them. And I'll get to that. But I get to this situation where I got to cut a promo. And I rehearsed all night, dude, in the mirror. And the WWE put me up in a hotel room, you know?
Right.
In Florida. And I'm like, bro, this is... I'm like walking around the hotel room naked in the fucking mirror. Like, dude, look at me, dude, big shot, WWE, you know?
Right.
You know, put me up here in this room, dude. I'm rehearsing the promo in the mirror. I got clothes on at this point, you know what I mean? But I'm rehearsing this promo over and over and over again. And I wear this ridiculous outfit. You know, it's like... It says EA all day and spray paint on it and like ripped jeans and like crazy half blonde, half brown mohawk hair. And that was me anyway, with the mohawk. I always had a mohawk, So I go down there. I get the promo, and I said, my name's EA all day. Let me tell you how my day starts in my world. I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence. Get a little groggy sometimes, I sit down. Then I stand right back up because that's when I realize I don't give a crap about you, anyone, or anything, okay? Because EA don't owe you nothing. The only vowel I'm concerned about is I. And while there is no I in team, there certainly is an EA. And I wouldn't even so much as pinch off a constipation ball for you because I don't owe you nothing, all right? Yeah, that was a little bit of it. That was the beginning of it, bro. And I got into something about... I'm a little smarter than your average sparrow, right, boo-boo? My science teacher made a lawnmower work off piss. You think I don't know science? And then, something or other, bro. Whatever. Right. I said this promo to Dusty, but I was gunning 90 seconds, and I hit that 90-second mark, and I was like, oh. When I get done with the promo, I'm sitting down, hot shit in my mind, but I just real humble sit down, and everybody's kind of like, what the fuck did we just see? But Big Cass, when I came that week, went, yo, you're that kid from Barstool, bro. Dude, pleasure to meet you, bro. And I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm wearing a Yankees hat. And we start talking Yankees. And now, how you doing? How about them Yankees? We start talking Yankees baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we hit it off. He was kind, open. Guys like Juice Robinson, who had to work me on that match, hated me. And then I just came in there and do this promo, and everybody's like, fuck this guy. But Big Cass is like, that guy's getting signed. Telling everybody, that guy's getting signed. I bet that guy gets signed. So then 5 months later, I show up, July 1st. WWE puts me with a roommate. Don't know who he is. Never met him before. Ends up being Mojo Rawley. Great guy. Love Mojo. Don't have a bad thing to say about Mojo. What a great guy. And me and Mojo hit it off. Mojo is best friends with Gronkowski.
Yep.
Gronk plays for the Patriots. Gronk buys a house in Tampa Bay, Florida, and Mojo moves out and moves in with Gronk. Then I get this guy named Ozzie Cherry from Africa with an English accent. Moved from Africa to England, had this tie of both accents, and he was freaking wild. And he comes and lives with me. Now I'm living with this guy, bro. So I get signed and I go down there, and the first week we're there, the Yankees play the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And I go to Big Cass. I'm new. I don't know nobody. I'm like, I got no advice. I don't know nothing about the business. I go, Big Cass, you want to go to Yankee game? And he's like, yeah. So we go to Yankee game, and I look around quickly, and I'm like, this ain't freaking Yankee Stadium, bro. They ain't got no security here. I go, why the hell would we sit in these $10 seats? So me and Cass walk straight down to the dugout and put our elbows on the away dugout. And the Yankees are walking in and out the whole time. And we're screaming at Jeter and A-Rod and taking videos that I still have to this day. And we're we went through 8 innings before finally a security guard comes up to us and goes, are these your seats? And I'm like, nope, right. Thanks, bro. The Yankees won. How you doing? And, from there on, you're a green guy in the business. You know nothing about wrestling. And this big guy that's 7 foot tall sees money in you. And he knows everything about the business. And he knows everything about wrestling. And he lives with Dean Ambrose. Cass, I owed a lot to, bro. The guy, and he welcomed me into his crew a little bit. I won them over quickly.
Right. Became
homies with a lot of guys. And they appreciated and respected the fact that I never pretended to know shit. Never. Ever. And, I remember at the beginning stages of the WWE, me and Mojo, mind you, are in the same boat. Difference being, I was on a moving truck, and the guys that I came in with, there was 20 of us. The only ones that made it are Mojo, who played in the NFL, Baron Corbin, who played in the NFL, Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter, and Enzo Amore for the moving truck.
Let's talk about your actual training for you. What was the most, difficult thing for you to comprehend in the business? Was it the psychology? Was it learning to take bumps?
Oh, the bumping was easy as hell. But okay. I used to get ragged and ripped on because any shot that I ever got to get out there in front of people, to me was like the biggest moment in the world. It didn't matter if it was 10 people
Right.
or if it was 10,000. So if somebody hit me with their move, I ate it and tried to make it look like it killed me. And by doing so, I'd go through the curtain, and the old timers like Norman Smiley, Nick Dinsmore, Bill DeMott, would be like, "What are you doing? Are you trying to kill yourself? What, you're never gonna make it. You're gonna die. You're gonna have a 5-year career. You're never gonna be able to make it through this life." But I was listening to the people, bro. And when I got killed or made a move look crazy, and I took it, I never took the same bump twice, bro. And 9 times out of 10, it was on purpose. And baby faces don't bump, bro. Baby faces flop. All right?
Right.
You're a heel, and we're hitting a comeback, which in wrestling is, the baby face is getting retribution for, the heat, which the heel, who's the bad guy, put him in a hole and beat him down, and now it's that good guys. It's Hulk Hogan hulking up. Oh my God, not today, brother.
Right.
So that's what that is, man. And how do you do that? Now I go in my mind. I've never wrestled before in my life, but my ration tells me, why did I love wrestling, and what did I love about it?
The flamboyant, the gimmick.
This is what I love about pro wrestling. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Shawn Michaels. And why? Because my sister loved Baywatch. And yes, I loved pro wrestling at this point, but I had just been young and just getting into it. And my parents weren't letting me watch it a lot. And this is the first pay-per-view that they let me order because Shawn Michaels was in the Royal Rumble and the storyline was hot going into it. And he had broken up with Giannetti and turned heel. And when he did so with the barbershop window, I instantly thought he was the coolest looking guy of all time. And this is a kid who would sit down and watch. My dad's a DJ.
Right.
So my dad would be DJing, making his mixes for his shows that he's doing. And I was obsessed with Billy Idol as a kid. And I would watch Billy Idol music videos and Michael Jackson music videos. I love Michael Jackson. So I would do Michael Jackson's dances. I would watch Billy Idol music videos dancing by myself. And then I would watch American Gladiators. And then I would watch pro wrestling. And we had about 6 to 8 like VHSs on all day.
Right.
So while my dad's back there DJing, making his mixes, and he's playing top 40. Because what gets the people up at the wedding? What gets the people up at the bar mitzvah, the bat mitzvah, the corporate event? What gets them up on their feet? Introducing to you for the first time as brand new bride and groom. I'm watching my dad do this in front of 600 people by the time I'm an infant. And I'm not even realizing that's a skill, to stand in front of people and talk on a microphone. It's just I'm born into it, I don't realize it.
Right.
But now you look at Enzo Amore in fruition. Father's a DJ, making his music. Enzo loves Spider-Man and pro wrestling. And has this toy, Shawn Michaels. And Shawn Michaels is going into the Royal Rumble, and his prize, if he wins this thing, is Pam Anderson. Pam Anderson is walking him in to the title fight against the 7-foot monster, who was also his boy. The Hotline Bang. This is crazy. This storyline's hot. But I'm a little kid. And all I see is assless chaps getting undone. I'm a sexy boy, and I'm going to get this girl. But I got to beat 30 men that are all bigger than me to do it. And I'm the first guy in. The music hits. He's the first guy. I'm like, oh my God. He hits. He wins. I'm losing my shit with the toy in my hand the whole time. He gets Pam Anderson. This guy's the man. Diesel obviously nixed that. I think he walked down with Jenny McCarthy, which, ain't too bad second fiddle. But, I was sold right then and there. Next thing I knew, I had to be the coolest kid in school. I had to. And I had to get the best looking girl in school. I had to. And I had to, show everybody that, nobody talking shit is going to back it up. I'm the best at talking shit and backing it up. We got in town, people. But I was a dumbass kid, and I was getting in all sorts of trouble. And I went to alternative school. I got kicked out of every elementary school. I got kicked out of every, middle school and then into high school, finally I found football. And I found something that I had a passion that got this energy out of me. And my dad didn't want me in the boxing gyms, which is where we're at right now.
Right.
How you doing? So as you see this set right here, where I'm at, this is what I'm doing now. And before we get to that, I will say that what I'm doing now is very community driven. And for kids like me, who when they were a child were told that they couldn't do this, and then they went on to do it. You know, I always knew what I wanted to do when I saw Shawn Michaels win that Royal Rumble. And every teacher when I was growing up told me I couldn't do it. And my dad at 18 didn't want me to do it right away. And everybody told me, you got to go to college. You know what? College isn't for everyone. College is not for everyone. And I made it work because I had a passion for football. And more importantly, my sister didn't go to college. She's older than me. I had to be the first guy in my family to go to school. My dad didn't do it, and I had to do it for him. So, you know, I never wanted college for me. I knew I could never sit at no desk job. And the first desk job I ever got, before I got that Hooters gig, I sat down at Verizon, and I remember I had my mother's name and my sister's name tattooed here, place no one above you. All the women in my life, my grandmother's hands, Hail Mary, Rose, you know, and Tony, how you doing, Pops. I got this tattoo, and I got it covered with a Band-Aid. And I go into the cubicle, and I'm like, I took lunch and I never came back. And I'm pretty sure I had a beer at Hooters that afternoon, and that's when I got that job.
You mentioned, go ahead.
Yeah, I get thrown into this wrestling world, and I didn't know anything about it. But it's blessed me with so much opportunity. And for me not to give back to the world that made me, pro wrestling, the fans, the best fans in the world, hands down, are pro wrestling fans. Like, it's not even an argument. There's no question.
Right.
Like, I had to stop and shout out 8 or 10 of them at the beginning of this, and I left a few out that are going to be angry at me. Because let's never forget, as pro wrestlers, who pays our bills. Bro, the people and the fans. And I think that was why me and Cass achieved so much success early, is because we took all the time after every NXT show, every FCW show, every, WWE show, to stop and talk to the people and hear what they have to say, to know about them, to remember faces. So the next time I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and I see Randy come up to me, I go, Randy, how you doing? And they never forget that.
100%.
And it means something to them. Like, look, if you don't mind, grab that book right there, Smack Poker Skywalker, bro. A girl came to me at a meet and greet, bro, just recently that I did. Now, I did, like, since I stopped wrestling, it meant a lot to me to give back to some fans that are going to show up to see me on that world front and tip. While I'm trying to do things that transcend pro wrestling, I'll never forget my roots,
right.
You know? And, money is the root of all evil, and I can't forget my roots. My roots ain't evil either. So a fan gave me this, man, right? Like, unbelievable, bro. A fan gives me this. It's got pictures of me at every event she ever went to from NXT. Here I am with Sylvester LaForte, working him in an armbar in an NXT armory in front of 20 people.
It's crazy.
And let's not forget, when you're an FCW, you're also the promotion team. So when you want people to show up to your shows and you never wrestled before in your life, and you're Enzo, you learn to set up the ring, you learn to drive your car to every single show and ask the boys if they need a ride so that they don't have to pay for gas. And you take that hit on the chin every time. Because the wrestling knowledge that they're talking in the car, just talking about their match, is worth its weight in gold. And there's no gas money. I could have put a price tag on that. So for me, driving from show to show, was invaluable knowledge that I was picking up. And I was riding in the best car there was.
Who was your partners in?
So at first, Big Cass was the first guy to really jump in my car.
Right.
And Mojo at first, and Mojo and Baron Corbin at first for like 2 weeks. But I quickly jumped into cars with wrestlers because I realized Mojo and Baron Corbin don't know about wrestling. No offense to them. I jump in with Big Cass, Juice Robinson, and Baby Vader, who is Jesse White, who's Leon White, Vader's son.
Right.
Juice Robinson is freaking hilarious. Then Neville comes, Pac. And I had heard a lot about Pac, so I went and did all my research on him. And when I met the guy, I found out that he was also a reggae enthusiast in music, and I love reggae too. And me and him hit it off. And I love anything with a beat, you know what I mean? And the thing about wrestling is it's mostly rock oriented. So I walk into this world of pro wrestling, a hip hop head, hip hop background, and everybody loves rock. And I show up the first day, I'll never forget. So as I said, I was having a tough time explaining what I was doing to people back home. And I didn't want to look like a liar to anybody. Okay, the first time I told everybody back home up here in Bergen County, Hudson County, North Jersey, 973-201, Waldwick, how you doing? Waldwick School represent, Warrior. Hence the Warrior tattoo with the Wu-Tang W on my arm. I go down to wrestling, and we got photo day. First opportunity. Now I'm cutting these promos, and I'm lighting it up. Let's not be,
Dusty was involved with your promos too, right? A little bit?
Huge. So the first time I ever cut that promo, I told you in front of Dusty.
Yeah.
After that, Dusty pulled me into a side room. Now this is a guy that I had, heard, so much about from my grandmother, who used to live in Tampa. So she used to be where he based all of his operations out of. They had American Dream cars out there,
right. Used
car lots for Dusty Rhodes. He was the biggest name fighting Harley race in Tampa with the dome off, outdoor shows, selling out shows. And, I knew who Dusty was. And I cut this promo and he pulls me aside, and I'll never forget. He said, you could be good, you could be bad, or you could be different. And we could teach any idiot off the street how to do that shit in the ring. But what you did, we just can't teach. Hence, you can't teach that.
That's how you got it.
It's not exactly how I got it, but it stuck in my mind enough to get there. It actually started with the intellectual savior of the masses, Damien Sandow, being smart and shit, and me being like, oh, Cass is 7 foot tall. Can't teach that. What can't you teach about me? Certified G bona fide stud, can't teach that, bro. So that's how that came into fruition. But
who came up with the name?
What?
Enzo.
Enzo Amore is all me.
Okay.
Enzo means head of the house, winner, lead, number one, right?
Right.
And Amore means love. One love, Bob Marley. I love reggae. So I love the essence of reggae, which preaches love, and peace and tranquility and equality and solace and simplicity in that form, of just understanding that, no man is made the same, but we're all equal, and in that understanding of being myself, I was different. And Dusty told me in that meeting, you got my green light, which he wasn't supposed to do. Let me know that before I left. So I knew in my mind when I went home that Dusty Rhodes told me that he wants to get me signed. But I still don't know. But Hunter sent me down there, and Hunter specifically said to everyone, he's not a charity case, and if he can't get his shit, do not sign him. Treat him like any other fuckboy coming in off the street. So, sure enough, I got treated like a fuckboy for about a year. And I'm running polls, and I'm running back to the truck every time. I take a poll. I wanted to touch, because I was a mover, remember?
Yep.
I was a mover. I found me in a moving truck. Paramus Moving. Big shout out, Gino, my high school football, my 8th grade football coach, Little League, Pop Warner. Gino runs a moving company, takes care of the boys. All right? So, I'm a mover. So for me, moving a ring truck in and out of the truck and making sure the weight is good in the trailer so that it's evenly distributed for the guy driving it, Steve Kern, who was Doink the Clown, Skinner. Shout out Steve Kern, who taught me so much and was so nice to me, which is important to me. When you hear me say people are nice to me, that's the most important thing in the world, bro. Just be nice to people, bro. You ain't got to be mean. There's no need. So the world of wrestling is mean enough, and the world is mean. Steve Kern took me in with arms wide open because he's got nothing to prove. And he was doing that shit out of love because he loved the business. And so was Dusty. They just loved the business. They didn't have to do that. So they want to give back to it, man. That means a lot to me to give back. And I just so happen to be in a facility right now with Rob in North Jersey, where on the other side of the wall is a full weight room, a ring, boxing gloves and materials, MMA materials, and pro wrestling. So, a lot going on in my life that's positive now based on those days that I can never repay those people that gave me that knowledge and that wherewithal within the confines of a business that wasn't so welcoming. And let's make it clear, I am wrestling's redheaded stepchild. I mean, I was never supposed to be here and never supposed to make it. And oh man,
I got a lot of questions going back before we get to the main roster stuff. Still going back down to Florida. Whose idea was it for you to be teamed with
Enzo
Cass?
Amore.
Okay.
One Love. EA, acronym for Eric Aunt. All right, the black card Eric Aunt kid. EA all day. My original name. I needed to keep EA. Enzo Amore.
So did you go to creative and say I want to team up with Cass?
No, actually.
Did they come?
What happened with the name, by the way, Enzo
Right.
Amore, they turned me down about 12 different times. Mojo Rawley was Mojo Rawley 5 months before I was Enzo Amore. Mojo Rawley had about 50 matches before I had one. Baron Corbin had like 100 matches before I had one. The first year, they were saying he's not ready, but they were just fucking with me, bro. I mean, everybody who was there will tell you, bro. I set up the ring every single day. I showed up to work at 5:30 in the morning every day, no matter how late we got in, because they threatened to fire me right away. They're like, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
You're going to get fired. Bill DeMott told me straight up, you're getting fired.
What was it like working with
Canyon
Bill?
Seaman told me straight up, you're getting fired. The head of town. What am I going to do? I couldn't give them that bullet. In the world of pro wrestling, so many metaphorical, emphasis is on there's always a gun to your head. Don't give them any bullets. I couldn't give him that bullet. So I had to beat my bosses to work every single day. And I had to get kicked out of the building, FCW. And Norman Smiley, God bless that man. I mean, that guy is the real deal. He showed up, Norman, he didn't have to be at work until 8 a.m. every day. But he showed up every day at 5:30 in the morning because he knew I'd be there. And I wanted my job so bad. So Norman showed up every day and opened that freaking door if Bill wasn't there yet. Sometimes we beat Bill, but Bill would be there by 6 or 6:30 in the morning every day, and I couldn't give him that. So I had to beat him to work every day, and then I had to go set up the ring and run back and forth to the ring truck from the wood lumber that we were laying. Then tie the knots, sink the ropes at the bottom, the metal ropes, sink the ropes around the ring, lay the canvases, and I took that on, and I made it a huge part of the learning process, knowing that shit. Because no one could say that I can't learn. I know how to set up a ring. I could go set up a ring right now by myself. Give me a few people and I'll tell them how to do it with me. So I knew I had to do that first. And I think that was a part of earning the respect in the dues in the business when you came off the streets. You had to pay your dues.
Did you get along with Bill DeMott?
I mean, it's widely publicized. If you're really digging into it, if you're what they would call a smart mark, right? A smart mark, yeah. Okay? Somebody who knows. I don't view a mark or a smart mark as a bad statement. Like, yeah. Bro, that pays our bills in a way. And anytime you're saying my name, except for if, in one particular situation in my life, it's good press for me.
Yeah.
I don't care. So, Bill, I think people will tell you, if you ever go back, no one had it harder than Enzo Amore, and Bill DeMott had it out for me. No words to describe it.
Right.
No words. I don't need to get into details. Two things I will never do on this shoot interview or anywhere. I'll never talk shit about nobody. I ain't gonna talk shit about the WWE. I'm thankful for my opportunities, bro. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna talk shit about individuals, and I'm never gonna snitch. Snitches get stitches. Come in! I'm sorry. What can I do for you? Not today, buddy. Out of here.
Not today?
No, other room.
Other room?
Cool.
People, I'm Enzo Amore is down the alley. People know that. They knock with respect, but when they come in, they know what time it is.
Yeah.
See the camera rolling, they gotta go. Out of there!
When you were training, I think you broke your leg early on. What happened with that? Simon Gotch, we did an interview with Simon. He claimed that you broke your own leg trying to counter, and I guess you blamed it on a loose canvas or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, let's not get into nuts and bolts. Yeah, I broke my own leg. You got to go out there and break a leg. Are you kidding? All right, let's get one thing out of the way here, okay?
The elephant in the room, if you will.
No, it's not an elephant in the room in my world. I won't even say his name, okay, until I get to the punchline. All right?
All right.
So let me tell you about a particular guy and his partner, Aiden English, who, by the way, I had my tryout with Aiden English, and we got signed at the same time, so I love Aiden. We worked so many matches with those guys. And there's a guy that you just mentioned who's wrestled and for 10 years, 12 years, and wants this thing so bad. And I'm sorry, kid. I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna be that easy when you got Enzo and Cass around, bro. So one day we do promo class. All right? You know what promo class is?
Of course.
You go up there, you cut a promo. But at this point in the stature of NXT, we got a television brand that's now starting to pick up steam. And now Michael Cole and Dusty Rhodes and, other people who sit in the hierarchy of production and commentating and our producers, are sitting at a table every Wednesday before we do tapings on Thursday in NXT. And what you say at that taping could get you booked on TV tomorrow. For some people, could get you a debut or could get you looked at. So those opportunities were huge for people. Me and Big Cass didn't even write our shit in the end. Okay?
That's amazing.
What we did was, whenever these things happen on Wednesdays, we had bullet points where we knew where we were going in our promos, especially if it was storyline driven based on the NXT tapings that were happening the next day. So at the time, I forget, we were working like Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake, and we had a plan to, probably cut a promo on them unless somebody else did something that deemed us to do something on them. So what me and Cass did was we always usually went towards the end of promo class, and we did our promo based on everyone else's. So you knew we were making it up that day and in front of your eyes.
It's awesome.
So me and Cass were undefeated. I mean, everybody will tell you, there was promos better than ours on particular days, but me and Big Cass never had a bad promo ever. I mean, I'm sorry, I'll say it flat out. Ever. We came to promo class prepared. That's why. Me and Cass sat down every day, and it took me years to write it. They were the best years of my life. Billy Joel, baby. This is it. We were prepared for promo class because, as Dusty said, you could be good, you could be better, you could be different, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But throw me into the fire of wrestling. I was figuring it out,
Right.
But promo class, forget it. Promo class, I'm coming in there ready. Guy shows up to promo class. He sets up a table. How you doing? He lays a drape over the table. How you doing? Then he and his tag team partner in suits, tuxedos with buttons on, I was wearing a promo class, whatever I was wearing that day in the street. And whatever I was wearing that day in the street was cool enough to take a picture and be seen on camera in. So I didn't really need to get prepared for promo class. So, we're in promo class, and me and Cass are sitting in the back, full house, Michael Cole, all them people up there. And all of a sudden, up come two puppets. It's a promo class. Talk about TV here, okay?
Right.
And these things were made by Jim Hansen himself. You think I'm playing? Jim Hansen made these puppets. They looked like Muppets of Enzo and Cass. I mean, spot on animated Muppets. These things could have had their own TV show. Okay?
Right.
And he pulls it up, and it's hilarious. Enzo, running around back and forth, and Big Cass, I'm 7'4", you can't teach that. But understand, the business of pro wrestling is giving back. And if you're afraid to put yourself out there, then you're just afraid of the competition. Okay?
Yeah.
That's how it works. So when you really look at it, you can tell them to be quiet if you want. We got a few boxes on the other side of the wall here. Don't worry about fucking somebody out, These Muppets come out. And he does the shtick, but when you put yourself out there and you say, bada boom, blank blank in the room, how you doing? It's right there. You say, bada boom, biggest schmuck in the room, how you doing? It doesn't matter what you put there.
Right.
I got to be able to top it, right? Not important. Simon Gotch, here's his name. Aiden English, pop up. Me and Cass have yet to do our promo. The big wigs are hanging out that night. We got TV tapings the next day. I look at this guy, and and he's in his ring gear, you know, the suit and tie button downs, you know, he's in his ring gear now.
Right.
The thing or whatever. And he's standing in the back of the room, and I go, oh, hell no, Cass, we got to change our promo, bro. We can't let that happen. And Cass said, what do you want to say? I'm like, bury him, you know? So I go up there, and I don't remember exactly what we said. Not today. So I don't remember exactly what we said. But me and Big Cass start buzzing about Aiden English and Simon Gotch. Okay? And I say, Simon Gotch? Simon Gotch? Let me tell you something about Simon Gotch. You guys want to know something about Simon Gotch? I'll tell you something about Simon Gotch. Simon Gotch has got a pair of titties like a 65-year-old woman. How you doing? At this point in the room, huge pop. They all turn around. Simon Gotch has his Andre the Giant singlet on. And his little bitch titties hanging over the top of it. And he makes the mistake of picking it up and putting it over. Double pop.
Right.
So, Simon Gotch's titties like a 65-year-old woman. Eyes to Simon. Put my titty back in. Forget it. Kid died in his mind right there. And I got the biggest pop of the night in promo class. Ended right there for me. Clearly, going down the line now, we see that the remnants of those words have hung heavy in the titty of Simon Gotch. Okay? He's wearing it right here in his fucking heart. All right? And I see the bitch in his heart when, whenever he opens his mouth and mentions my name. Because that's the only time that anybody gives a fuck about what he's saying. So I gave him the luxury of saying his freaking name for the first time ever in an interview. And I'll end it there. Because I have no ill will towards a guy unless he ever comes out and says that he knocked me out on purpose. Because let's just fucking be clear. That guy hates me. And I don't have hate. I don't have a bone of hate in my body. I also don't have a bitch bone in my thug. I don't have a thuggish, ruggish bitch bone in my body either. How you doing? Okay.
Right.
You know. So if I ever found out that he pushed me harder on purpose, and that's what caused the injury, I ran that spot 100 times with Aiden English, and he'll tell you about it. And I would just do a 619 out of the ring, and never land the same, and it looked terrible. So if I baseball slide out of the bottom of the ropes, like I hit my head on the second, hit my head on the rope, I catch my elbow underneath the rope. And then right when I start to rotate like Ray on the 619, I let go.
Right.
And then I just spill to the floor. And you could hear a pin drop. Ooh.
Right.
It looks disgusting. I've done it 100 times on live events with Aiden English. Never one time in my life did it with Simon Gotch. The first time I ever did it with him, I ended up in a hospital, knocked out cold with my mother crying, my father crying, everybody not knowing if they're going to be able to tell if I'm going to live or come out of this thing functioning. I come to in the hospital in a CAT scan. All right? It was in that moment that I realized I had broken my leg previously in wrestling. And I never stopped writing music because I was a writer and a rapper before I was a wrestler. And when I was rapping in New Jersey in 2012, before I became a wrestler, you know, that's part of the reason why I got signed to the WWE. It was when I broke my leg, I was like, dude, this could end. But then everything went so well, you kind of leave that in the back of your mind as a pro wrestler every night that you go out there and risk your life, you know? This time, I went, if this ends tomorrow, no, I'm never going to be a manager or a commentator for the rest of my life. As much as I love the business, there's a glass ceiling. And there's not enough money to be had. And my passion is in the ring. In the ring. Never as a mouthpiece for anybody. Ever.
Interesting.
Ever. Not in a million fucking years. Out of there. Offer it to me. Since I've left the WWE, let's be clear and frank, I've had offers come to me. In pro wrestling. A few of them. And good ones. WrestleMania pay for a few appearances. No bumping, no in-ring work, just microphone shtick work.
Right.
Turned it down. No way. I don't want to do that Because I'm passionate about wrestling. I love getting in the ring. I love listening to reactions. And if I ever found out that Simon Gotch did that shit on purpose, if he came out and said that, how you doing?
You were paired with Carmella. Did you like her as part of the act down in Florida?
So I'll say this. I don't watch anything that's going on in the current product, so
Yep.
I have no idea what she's up to or what she's doing. And I haven't ever watched her since she really became Carmella, unless I was sitting at a monitor watching it backstage and it was on or something. Apparently she's killing it, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Did you like working with her when she was part of?
She's a great actress.
Okay.
She's a great actress. But let's just be clear. The girl's from Massachusetts. She's a frickin' Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Yankees fan. Okay? Now, I wish you guys was in a room the first time Cass pitched this to me. You know, the first time I'm in promo class and I look up and I see a fur like this in leopard with leopard outfit on doing my shtick. I'm in promo class. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? And then it's, oh, I like this Wolf of Wall Street character. Even though you're from Massachusetts.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I don't see how you can do this without us. If you're gonna do this, they're probably gonna put you with us. Sure enough, Cass ends up with Carmella and dating her. But Dusty loved the visual of us. So Dusty wanted it, and anything that Dusty wanted, I was more than game, and that guy knows money. And more importantly, if it was a way for us to get out of NXT and to the main roster of WWE, which was clearly the goal,
Yep.
I was down with it. Made the entrance a little longer, you know, but I see that she's ran with it, and she's doing well with it. I'm not hating on it at all, bro. Wrestling is acting. Like, The Undertaker isn't actually The Undertaker. She's playing this character from Staten Island, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the real her is Liv Morgan. You know, Liv Morgan is from here, like where we are right now, North Jersey. You know, that's really her. So I know it was difficult for her at the beginning stages of watching Carmella do her shtick, knowing that she's not from our area, but she made whatever happened with her work too, because you know she got called up to the main roster too.
Before you guys got called up to the main roster, you worked a little bit with Bubba and Devon, who are veterans of the business. Did Bubba and Devon?
Before I got?
Yeah, before. Well,
We never met him.
You never worked with them down in Florida before, because even in the album, there's a picture from the house show.
Never.
Okay, all right. Well, when
House show?
it's a small show in that one album I saw with Bubba and Devon in the ring. It doesn't look like a TV. It looks like
It was definitely a TV.
really. It looks really small.
It was probably Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay.
It's small.
Well, when you meet
would
Bubba
think.
and Devon finally, what advice did they offer you guys?
Dude, first of all, shout out Uncle Bubba. Love that guy.
He's the best.
Bro, I love Bubba. And Devon, thank you too for putting up with my shit. But I'll tell you what, there was nothing better than popping them guys in the ring.
Right.
Being out there with 9-time champions, and I'm Enzo, bro. So if you're working with me, I'm constantly doing things that are trying to pop you and not the audience.
Right.
You know? Bubba, the first time I ever spoke to Bubba and Devon really was after we debuted. So after I cut the promos on them. That was really the first time. And then Bubba came to me and he said, what you just did was lightning in a bottle. And no matter how long you're in this business for, kid, I've been out there for a lot of them. You may never get that shit again. Good shit. And then he just walked away.
That's Bubba. Compare working for Hunter to Vince when you're called up to the main roster. What was the differences?
Night and day. You don't understand, bro. I have the most significant relationship probably with that guy in the past 10 years.
With Hunter.
20 years. I mean, no other wrestler that he's recruited has as significant of a relationship, and there ain't much of a relationship.
Right.
Here I am. I'm his redheaded stepchild, Hunter. He never asked for this, dude.
Right.
You got a guy in the gym who think he's worth the shit? All right, we'll give him a tryout. Don't do him any favors. You know, I had my job threatened by Triple H, man, personally. I've had a new asshole ripped by Triple H that I can only conceive in my mind, no one else on the roster, NXT or WWE, has ever had their ass chewed out by Hunter like I have. And probably rightfully so at times.
Anything specific?
I think the thing is with Hunter is you got to understand, I'm the guy that he found on the back of a moving truck. Gave a tryout. You have to understand the way I debuted. I was never supposed to happen, and I think Hunter was going to fire me, or Bill DeMott was going to fire me too. I'm sitting backstage eating donuts at an NXT taping. The guy who sets up the ring and sells the merchandise, I'm wheeling and dealing. I'm selling merch. Every Friday Armory show, I'm the guy selling FCW shirts. I haven't had a match yet, okay?
Right.
But I'm paying my dues. But I'm selling the most merch they got. Alfred can't keep it on the shelf because I'm out there talking to people, doing what I do. But what am I doing there? I'm building my brand before I even take the ring. I'm walking around shaking hands with everybody in Florida. How you doing? EA all day. Selling these t-shirts. Boom, boom, boom. Now they know the guy from the merch stand, and then when I have a match, they may be recognized. Remember?
Right.
All the other wrestlers are like, oh, I got to watch it from the back, behind the curtain, at the monitor. Because, you know, that's the stigma. You got to be a star, right? You don't want to be out there on the other side of the curtain and mixing it up with... But me, I was like, I'm not even a wrestler yet. I'm not a fucking star. I'm making $600 a week. I went to Bill DeMott and I asked if I can get another job. I was like, bro, I'm buried in college debt, dude. I got to get another job. And he's like, no, you're a WWE superstar. You can't have another job. I'm like, fucking what the hell am I going to do? So I had to take out credit cards, bury myself in debt. So I'm meeting all these wrestling fans and shit, so they recognize my face and whatnot. But I'm sitting backstage eating donuts at an NXT tape, and Dusty Rhodes, Bill DeMott, they're all having the meetings or whatever. And the meetings get done, and I know for a fact I'm not wrestling. I got my feet up, dude. I'm relaxing. I'm going to watch these 4 tapings, try to learn a thing or two, see what's working, see what's not, see who gets to debut, you know.
Right.
Dusty Rhodes comes walking into the boys' locker room where I am eating a donut. I'll never forget a pink donut. He goes, Enzo! And he always held his face. Like it was like a kiss, but he's Dusty Rhodes. So it's a face of anticipation. Dusty Rhodes just call your name. What's he going to say?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
He knows that, right?
Right.
He's trained to that. He's an important man, right? Enzo, you got your gear? I'm like, yeah, I got my gear. He's like, meet me by the ring. And I don't do a great Dusty impersonation.
No, that's pretty
a lot
good.
of people do it. A lot of people do a better one. So, now mind you this. Now here's the part where I alluded to earlier that I'm going to have a hard time explaining what I'm about to do to the people back home, bro. I grew up with some tough guys, okay? And some people that are dead and gone. And some people that have bad affiliations and ties. And I never wanted to succumb to that. My father, I have the best family in the world, a mother and father, Tony and Rosemary, who were there for me the whole time. And I know that I'm privileged in that regard, you know, that they pushed me in the right direction. So I didn't end up in jail or dead like a lot of my friends did. You know, I'm blessed. And I knew, while I still hang out with the same guys and some of them are wild, I knew when it was time to get away from that. And I knew that sticking around here in North Jersey, having 5 of my friends overdose on pills, the pill epidemic in this country, I could talk about it. We can go down a wormhole, but I knew if I didn't make it here, if I didn't leave, I was never going to make it. And I had to quit my job, tell my dad. He allowed me to live at his house for no rent, and I figured it out. A lot of people don't have that opportunity, man. And a lot of people don't have family support. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So any opportunity that I have to understand my privilege and meet kids and people in life that don't have that, and any advice I can give them, you know, that's my MO now. You know, my MO is not in the ring. It's what I can take what I learned and apply it to other people's lives to make them a better person. So you know, I'm sitting backstage, and I've had 4 matches, okay? They were all against Big E Langston, and all that happened was he grabbed me and hit his finisher on me 5 times.
Right.
And every time I took it a different way. I took a wild bump, landed on my neck, my arm, my head, stood up, fell. You know what I mean? Like and Wyndham, you know, Bray Wyatt,
Right.
was sitting up there, and he watched me take this finisher a different way every time, and I popped all the boys. They're like, oh my God. They're dying laughing. Wyndham pulls me aside, puts me under his arm, and is like, you're going to be all right with me, boy, you know? And here's a guy whose dad's the IRS, you know, Blackjack Mulligan's his grandpa, Barry Windham's his uncle. You know, this guy is in the business, and he was the first guy in the business who was born into it to be like, bro, fuck what they're saying, hating on you. I see how hard you're working to learn this shit, you know, in the ring and shit, and,
Right.
and you're willing to kill yourself out here. And he loved my shtick. So me and Bray Wyatt have been best buddies ever since. Still, you know, love Bray. But he was the first guy to really see that. When I came through the curtain after taking those finishes all different sorts of ways, I got my job threatened. I mean, you want to get fired? I was like, oh my God, dude. So I go to taping. I'm not thinking I'm going to be on a show. Sure enough, Dusty goes, meet me in your ring gear. Here's where we have a hard time. I show up to shoot these photos for the first time in the WWE for the NXT thing, for FCW before NXT.
Right.
I got on blonde mohawk, split down the middle, brown. They're trying to give me the name Nino Jones, and I'm saying hell no. And I'm fighting tooth and nail to keep Enzo Amore, whereas everybody else, like Mojo Rawley, like your name's Mojo Rawley, he's like, all right, cool. Doesn't matter. They're all taking its old school wrestling lore. Take whatever name they give you. If an old school promoter like Dusty Rhodes or anybody comes up to you and is like, this is your name, that's what you do. Kamala, your name's Kamala.
Right.
Right? I'm fighting tooth and nail. Who the hell do I think I am? That's their perception.
Right, right.
You know, but I'm like, nah, I got to be Enzo Amore. Thank God. But I go in as Enzo Amore. I got leopard print marker, you know, like paint, face paint on the side of my head. Saying makeup, it's face paint. Shout out Road Warriors. So I got the leopard print on the sides, you know. I got a mohawk that's half blonde, half brown. I put black boxing trunks on like Mike Tyson. And then I put on a black pair of Jordan 11s. And I go do photo day. Bill DeMott sees it. He goes, what are you doing? What do you mean? He goes, dye your hair black if you want to be Enzo Amore. Grow out a mustache. And if you don't have wrestling gear and wrestling boots by next week, you're fired. What am I going to do? Here I am, a man full of pride. Never wrestled before in his life. Love fashion. Look at this opportunity in wrestling to be like Shawn Michaels, to be loud. What did I love that made me love Shawn Michaels? I got to do that with myself in a sense, but I was already kind of doing that, and the loud and the leopard. So I just thought to myself, like, what am I going to do? Leopard print is going to work because I had an idea and a theory on marketing and branding, and I understood it. Was, listen, if you go to Walmart, right?
Yeah.
Now, I put a little bit of leopard print on everything that I wore, okay? You go to Walmart, you see a leopard print shower curtain, and you take a picture of it and you tweet it at me. You go, hey, I saw this and I thought of you. Exactly, you thought of me. I branded myself right away, leopard print. And then I went to the women's aisle and I found leopard print spandex pants. And I got a pair of wrestling boots from Jorge Sin Cara, overpriced, overcharged, and I had these things, and I had just got them the day before for the taping. So if I didn't have the taping, I would have been fired, right? They say in the meeting, I heard from people that were there, that they said that, okay, Dusty said, we're going to send Enzo out there to do a job because Mason Ryan needed a guy to go out there and do a job against
This was your debut, yep.
get killed on NXT. And they go, we need a heel. He needs to get heat. So give this kid the microphone and Bill DeMott's like, he's not fucking ready yet. He's not ready yet. And I haven't had any matches. And they keep telling me I'm not ready. I'm like, fuck it, dude. If you know how to bump, you're ready. Okay? And the old school thought of Dusty. Look it, let's dress up Kamala. Let's paint his face. Put him here. Let's film this vignette in somebody's backyard. Wait till he comes in from the overseas. It's like, look back at Dusty's thing. The way Dusty sold stuff, bro. The Weaver Lock. When I get you in that Weaver Lock. You know, like, he sold the match in the promo, the Weaver Lock. He sold Lex Luger you know, and he sold Barry Windham's whole story about, you know, being a boy born into the business and trading his glory to be into the Four Horsemen. And you know what? There is nobody than Ric Flair, better than Ric Flair, because he's got that title. But when I get that title, then I'm going to be better. What's the significance of all that I just said in the promo? Because he not only said that, he said probably like Greensboro, North Carolina, I think. You know, he said, you know, the location. He covered all his bases, put himself over, put his opponent over, put everyone over, and that's how you build a ticket in a house. But that is Dusty Rhodes being my mentor, me sitting and learning from this guy. That, you know, be good, be bad, be different. I'm always different. Right? And Dusty never called me Enzo once. Called me Enzo. Enzo, right? Dusty would say, I said to him once, I said, like, how do you pack the house? You know what I mean? He said, as a worker, as a booker, or both. And it's true. Are you Paul Heyman, booking, building the character, the match, the stipulation in the match, the draw?
Right.
Or are you building the talent? Dusty built everyone, and then he wrestled on the card. He was brilliant. And that marketing and that mind. See, understand, when I was in the WWE underneath the confines of the Performance Center, I looked around and I said, these people don't get it. In the regard that they, make no mistake about it, I'm a mark, but everybody in the wrestling business are the biggest marks. But in this world, the WWE understood that there's no bigger investment they can make than in the talent. Because the talent is the lifeblood of the industry. And without wrestlers, there's nobody selling popcorn. And there's nobody putting lights on. And there's nobody in the arena. Okay, so the wrestlers are the lifeblood of the industry. So what did the WWE do? They invested in their talent. They built the Performance Center. They built green screens. They brought the elite of the business to come and teach kids knowledge and psychology and entertainment and how to do this. I was sitting side by side with Dusty, trying to understand that. I looked around and I went, these guys, when I mentioned my name, Enzo Amore, and the likes of The Rock, and I mentioned my name in the likes of Stone Cold, and I mentioned my name in the likes of Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and I mentioned my name in the likes of all these big time names in promo class, the guys that are around me are going, he's a mark. Who the fuck does he think he is comparing himself to those people? Right? And I'm looking around and going, you idiots. We are under the roof of the Performance Center, and if one of us doesn't come out of this place and be the next Rock, we got no lifeblood in our business. The business needs stars, and that is the lifeblood of our business. But more importantly, the business needs the next Vince McMahon too.
100%.
So Dusty did that with his son, Cody Rhodes. And I get chills when I think about it. What he's doing right now with AEW is the coolest shit I've ever seen, because it's Dusty Rhodes' fucking son going head up against Vince McMahon. Dusty, we go back, Dusty gets made a mockery of by Vince McMahon. Put him in yellow polka dots. Put him with, at a time, highly scrutinized, at a time where, you know, equal rights and racism and things of that nature were running rampant. It was a different world. He put her with a black woman. And he said, okay, now go get over now.
And he did.
The American dream, Dusty Rhodes, now go get over. Because you know what? You used to book against me. You used to be my competition, Dusty Rhodes, and now you're working for me. And that's Vince. That's his mindset.
Did you get along with Vince?
So, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Dusty, though, look at it. Virgil. Vince got a guy, you know, a black guy named him Virgil in a time of scrutiny, and these things are long storied and historical, and then he got that same guy and named him Vincent when he went to WCW. Why did he name him Vincent? Dusty and Vince had of course. Fuck, you can't, and to see Cody kind of reignite that flame, in essence, to me is the coolest thing, because it's his son, and I know he's probably, the shit that I learned from Dusty, could you imagine? You know, and that's another thing about Dustin too, Gold Dust. I mean, the nicest guy ever, bro. The nicest guy ever. Throughout all the shit that he saw and the locker rooms and that he's been a part of, to still be in the business, to still doing it, to still want to give back to the younger guys, and stuff like that. And more importantly, in his older age, he wants to do it the right way. And it's never been about him. Those guys love to give back to the business. And that to me is that Rhodes legacy that I want to see live on in that world as well. I think that's the coolest thing. But I'm about to debut. I get these tights. And I'm like, Dusty's like, get your gear up, put my gear on. I'm like, bro, how am I going to explain to my friends and family that I'm wearing spandex and I'm about to get killed by this giant dude when I grew up a tough guy in Jersey? Like, this is going to be unacceptable. It's the worst day of my life. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do the job, and then I'm going to get fired. I know this for a fact in my head. I've been told I'm going to get fired. So I think I'm just going out there to do a job and get fired, like a TV guy they call in.
Right.
So I go out there and I'm like, go out to the ring and I have no idea what's about to happen. I'm just told to be in my ring gear and stand ringside. So I sit through like 3 or 4 rehearsals and then finally they play this terrible club techno music and this Italian flag comes on the big screen. And at this point, me and Big Cass have started cutting promos together in class, but Bill DeMott will not let Big Cass be my tag team partner because he likes Big Cass and he told him I'm getting fired. So Dusty likes us together. Dusty's like, let me see this again next week.
Right.
This time we've only done about 3 or 4 promos together, and all the boys love it. They think it's fucking hilarious. Me and Big Cass doing this how you doing shtick and shit. So everybody in the business at this point backstage in NXT knows I'm going to be fired. And they hated Bill DeMott. Okay, I'm not going to say a bad thing about Bill DeMott. You know why? Because, as I said, Bill DeMott made my life a living hell. Did I complain about that? Did you hear a complaint come out of my lips when I said that?
Nope.
Bro, I was in the WWE. What's the rule about Fight Club? You join Fight Club, there's one rule about Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club. I was in the WWE, I grew up in it, like this life. Dude, you join the mob, you don't talk about the mob. So, things that happened in FCW or in NXT, whether they were good, bad, or indifferent, they molded me and made me who I am.
Exactly.
And whether I could say a bad thing or a good thing about the guy, how about I don't say anything about him, because he was there, and that's all I need to say. I'm sitting there, and I go through the curtain, and I have a microphone, and I have no idea what the hell I'm supposed to say, because they give me a microphone. I don't even know who I'm fighting, and I get told to fight Mason Ryan, I'm going to do this job. Get the microphone, and that's where I said, my name's Enzo Amore. I look up and down this NXT roster, see nothing but a bunch of fake tough guys, what I like to call fugazi. Everybody's real till a real situation shows up. Everybody's a G till a G walks in the room. Bada boom, realest guy in the room. How you doing? Now this goes back to me going, I'm the realest guy in the room on my tryout video that my little brother filmed, edited for me, just like my Phoenix music video. My little brother has a red camera, makes movies now. He started on the heels of the Hudson River with me. Nobody's in here for you, thanks.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's my best friend, by the way, the mover, Mark. He is the character of Enzo Amore.
The guy that just came in?
The guy who just came in.
Amazing.
Literally. So I based the character of Enzo Amore, and I've said things on television that came out of that guy's mouth. All right? He's a guy with nothing to lose. He has 0 family, and he's my best friend in the world.
Right.
And he's done a few bids in jail growing up, and he's straightened his life out in the boxing gym. He's a fighter. He's a great guy. Wild man, but a great guy. So I go to the gym. I'm out there. I get the microphone. I'm talking my shit, right? I say that stuff. Then I get the microphone handed to me and I do it. It just so happens that at this point we're trying to change from FCW, where we're still doing these house shows as FCW, to NXT. But we still can't fill the houses. We can't get people to come to the NXT tapings. So in order to fill the houses, we book a match on the dark card at the end of the show when the cameras go down. All right? And as the cameras go down, let me take my shimmy down on you. State of Fitness Boxing Club, North Bergen.
It's freezing.
We got to put this in there. All right, you want to use it as a blanket, feel free.
It is cold.
I'm doing great. RealOneShop.com. Get you one. So, I go out there, cut this promo. I get murdered by Mason Ryan. and I think my job's over. But I don't. But we booked John Cena at the end of the NXT taping to be the guy to fill the house.
Yep.
So all the fans stick around to see John Cena. And on the same taping that I debut. And it just so happens that when John Cena was backstage, he was sitting next to Tyler Breeze, who was sitting next to him to pick his brain, ask him questions, which anybody in that house at that moment would love to be sitting rubbing shoulders with John Cena when you're in NXT trying to make it. Like, oh, wow. And Tyler Breeze was about ready to get called up. And he was on that ESPN documentary that Big Cass was said to be fired on. Remember, the ESPN documentary said, we're going to fire Big Cass. So, Big Cass has not debuted on TV yet. I go out there, get killed, come through the curtain. But when John Cena was backstage, all the boys stood up and clapped for me when I debuted. Because they knew Bill DeMott hated me and I had a microphone and I was about to kill it.
Interesting.
So they all stood up as a fuck you because they were working on getting Bill DeMott fired. There was a whole conspiracy going on with a letter and all this shit.
I heard about it, yep.
And so when they stood up and clapped, it caught John Cena's attention. And he looked around and he went, why is everybody clapping? Who is this guy? And Tyler Breeze put me over and was like, bro, you got to see him and his tag team partner, who at this point we've only done promos backstage. We've never even had a match together.
Amazing.
And John Cena's like, oh yeah? And I do the shtick and John Cena stands up and goes, bada boom, realest guy in the room. I come through the curtain. Bill DeMott tells me I do a terrible job. I'm like, oh my God. It's all over for me. I walk in the back and little Rob Naylor comes running up to me, the little assistant boy in the back of the FCW, great guy. He goes, John Cena stood up and lost it and he wants to meet you right now. And I'm like, what? What? Dude, oh God, dude, do I look good? Run back there, bro. Shake John Cena's hand. And I walk up to him and he's sitting next to Ryan Ward, the writer who works on NXT at the time. And Ryan Ward, I owe him so much. Ryan Ward was the guy who told me I didn't have a choice, but I had to keep saying certified G and bona fide stuff and that shtick. I wanted to say it every once in a while. I was like, dude, I don't want to say this every time because I have so much I want to say.
Right.
And he's like, no, you got to say it every time. So shout out Ryan Ward for that. And then Nikki, another writer up there, worked with Cena, and they came down to NXT and they worked with me and Big Cass. And they loved working with me and Big Cass after this day. So what happened was I walk up to Cena and he goes, I have to tell you, I've been here for 4 tapings and you're the only thing that has caught my attention. Great job. And he just sticks his hand out and I'm like, and then I run up and I go and sit next to Big Cass with like Baby Vader, Jesse White, and like Juice Robinson, who is not happy with his job on NXT. And Jesse White just tore his ACL. And I'm like, oh my God, bro, what the fuck is going on? Right? So then all of a sudden I get summoned again with Big Cass. Me and Big Cass go and sit down with John Cena. He's like, how fast can you get your ring gear on and be in the ring? What? You're like, I want you to come out to the dark seg if you're cool with that and cut a promo on Damian Sandow. I'm like, yeah? So Big Cass runs over. He's doing push-ups, getting oiled up, getting into his wrestling boots, tying. Takes him 20 minutes to tie his legs as they go to his knees.
Right.
I'm like, geez, Louise. Bro, we get out to the curtain and Big Cass is as nervous gets. He's never even been out there before. He's like, they don't even know who I am. I don't know. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Me and him have been sitting on a couch doing this.
Going through stuff.
For about 3 weeks.
Right.
3 weeks of material, basically, I have in my head. And I go, listen, they can't. I go, I'm thinking in my head on the fly. Right on Gorilla Curtain, John Cena's doing a shtick with Damian Sandow in the ring. And all the boys in the back are like, oh my God, I can't believe Enzo and Cass are about to go out there with John Cena in the fucking ring on a FCW NXT dark seg. And we're freaking out. I go out there, dude. This terrible music hits, and I introduce myself. And why? Because Damian Sandow is in a ring, intellectual savior of the masses. Smart guy, right? So I say to him, I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And you see this guy? He's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. And while you think you're, a smart guy, a little smarter than your average bear, right, Bo? My science teacher made a lawnmower work off piss. You think I don't know science, pal? Let me ask you. I got facts like the back of a Snapple cap, okay, Damien Sandow? How many dimples are in a golf ball? There are exactly 139 dimples in a golf ball. And there are exactly 0 dimples on my hind end. Wonder why? Because I'm hard body. And you know what you are? You're S-A-W-F-T, Shaft. John Cena goes, what did you call him? And I went, Shaft. He said, what? And I went right in, like, turn my attention to Damien Sandow and, like, hit the Enzo, like, you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
as I'm talking, like, I kind of just, I was like, S-A-W-F-T, Shaft. And then John Cena goes, he called him Shaft. And Cass goes, Shaft. And the whole Orlando crowd starts going, Shaft. First day me and Cass were ever on TV or seen together.
Over already.
We spell soft out. We leave the ring that night. I think Damien Sandow went to a table. Our lives changed that night. I knew it. Everybody knew it. And we became fan favorites. And we were booked as heels.
Right.
Which was fun. So it was the only time I was ever a heel for 5 years. It was
Right.
at the very beginning of the run. So then, fast forward. Next TV tapings. Still have no match. Still selling merchandise at NXT shows. Still not getting booked.
It's crazy.
And Big Cass is getting booked. Not with me. And getting pushed with other tag team people on live events. And they're fucking with me, Bill DeMott. Like, not putting me in the ring, booking Cass in a tag team, making them cut promos with Mason Ryan, like trying to pair them.
Right.
Even though we just did this thing on TV. We do our next set of tapings 4 weeks later, right? 3 weeks later. We go to the tapings. I'm not booked. Cass is not booked. The whole time we're there, the whole crowd at the tapings, in the crowd, we're not booked, is going, Shaft, Shaft. This time, they brought Ryback in for the dark segment. At the end of the night, Terry Taylor comes up to us, who I love, one of the best minds for the business in the history of our business, ever. Terry Taylor comes up to me and Cass and goes, they want you to do the dark seg now against Ryback. So he comes up with a little stick with us. But what we go out there, and then it was me and Cass who came up with our shtick, but the idea of the physicality was Terry Taylor. So I said, Ryback is feed me more. So why not go out there and get the next what champ? I go, we're going to the local Golden Corral. How you doing? Cass, I'm hitting the how you doings. Cass is hitting all the things. I go, any of you ladies out here in the arena, and this is, mind you, second time that people have ever seen me and Cass,
Right.
And it's the dark seg, okay? And we got to go in the ring with Ryback, who's over as shit and getting a huge push at the time. And we're heels. So I go out there. If any of you ladies are out there into meatheads in that ring, got a real cheap date for you. All you got to do is take them over to the local Golden Corral. Right?
Right.
Cass I go, Cass, what are we getting Ryback at the Golden Corral? He goes, what do you say, tacos? How you doing? We go through everything on the menu. Chocolate fondue. How you doing? Cheeseburger. How you doing? Hamburger. How you doing? Swiss cheese. How you doing? Every cheese. And the whole crowd picks up on it by the third or fourth, how you doing? And Cass is trying to stop, but I tell him to keep going. I keep giving him, like, keep going, keep
Right.
going. Just keep going, bro. They're going. And then finally he gets down to the last thing, which is, we ain't going to give you a hard taco. We're going to give you an SAWFT soft taco, because that's what you are, you know? Then Ryback got into a thing. He's like, he says, you know who, your mother and father, who are brother and sister, who did a terrible job when they made you idiot brothers or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, huge mistake. Don't talk about our family. Cass, you hit him high. I'll hit him low on the count of 3. That was the Terry Taylor shtick, old school wrestling shit.
Yep.
Like, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Cass runs at him and gets his head taken off. And I'm just standing there and I go, whoa, you knocked his block off, bro. Listen, I didn't mean anything that I just said. I was just joking around. What do you say, me and you go out, we get out of here, we go to the local Golden Corral. He picks me up, scoops me, hits me with his deal. The next time we're out there on TV, I stay a certified G bona fide stud thing, and you can't teach that on the taping. A few people that were out there, like, you could tell when I said you can't teach that, and I did this with my arm, they did it too. And then the Ryan Ward came back, the writer, and was like, bro, you have to say this every night that we put you out there. And here I am with a guy full of this.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude! And we're limited on how much time we get on the microphone, and it feeds into our match. And the biggest thing that I got heat with in the business wasn't even real, bro. I promise you, I pretty much stuck to my times.
Yep.
But the biggest thing was that they were worried that I was going to go overtime. Always. We give you this mic, and you got 2 minutes. You go over. They were counting by the second. You went 4 seconds over. You went 5 seconds over. And they were doing that to you in NXT for a reason.
Right. For the big time.
For the big time.
Yeah.
And they worked like the tapings, like they had commercial breaks in between. So you'd be in a hold, and they'd treat it like there was a commercial going on, but really you wouldn't, you know. And I just think that when I got thrown into the fire, nothing could have prepared me for it. Bro, the first time me and Cass went out there, dude, we said soft. The second time we say, how you doing? And I had no idea what happened after that. Because I was getting threatened to be fired. I was being told I was no good. I was having matches, and we were being booked like we were getting jobbed out every taping. We never won a match. And I was being told I wasn't ready and this and that. And you just, it plays with your psyche. And you just don't know. And I'm just like anybody else at that time in that stature of my career, just trying to make it, man. And we had no idea what we were doing and how significant it was and how much money it was making, bro. If you look back, me and Big Cass, first of all, opened every single NXT show for the first year that it ever hit the road. I can't reiterate after 6-year careers and now 7 years in the business.
Yeah.
To how much, like, there's no words. Like it's just, man. You're talking about we got thrust into something in the history of our business in terms of FCW turning into NXT, doing shows just in Florida, getting over, and then being the opening act on every single show for a calendar year, the first time NXT ever leaves state lines. Columbus, Ohio. Now we go to Brooklyn. Now we go to the UK. First time ever. I made $10.50 a week. Now, if you look back in the business,
right,
open up every one of those shows, sold out houses, NXT, TakeOver, UK. People going ape shit, dude. Oh, Enzo Amore. That's where it started.
I remember.
That's where it started. Sold out houses. I made $1,000.50 that week. And I took the 17 grand that I got for my first ever video game check in NXT. The most money I ever saw in my life. I couldn't believe it. 17 grand? What?
Right.
Losing my shit. I paid $10,000 worth of student loans off. I put a dent in a credit card, and then I took the rest of the money and I flew my parents to London. And they got to watch me they followed us on tour. And they got to watch me, and they saw Europe, and they saw it for the first time just like I did. And I never would have left the country if it wasn't for that. So you take the good with the bad. There's that double-edged sword in the business of pro wrestling. Being humble does not work as well as being aware. If you're aware of who you are, the impact you have on the draw, the house, the stands, the merchandise, and you understand that maybe in the history of our business, in about a 3 to 4 year window, no one has made the WWE more money than me and Big Cass.
Especially with, oh yeah.
As far
100%.
as asses and seats and merchandise go, because you have to understand, they're getting us at league minimum.
Right.
Minimum salary contracts. And I make 2.5% of merchandise sales. Big Cass makes 2.5% of merchandise sales. We make $8 million on the certified G shirt in a rookie year on the minimum salary and contract, not including draws on houses that when we sit in, people are buying our shirt. They're coming there to see us.
Right.
And we're getting paid $600 a show for Monday Night Raw, getting paid $1,000 to be in the Barclays Center for a show. There's people who are sitting in the front row who are paying more money for their seat than I'm making that night. Okay?
It's crazy.
But had I not been given the opportunity off of the back of a moving truck, had I not ate the shit sandwiches of Bill DeMott and Triple H, had I not dealt with all this stuff, and dude, life is about doing things that you don't want to do because you have a vision. That's why I love taking a long drive. Because the other end of a long drive is a destination. In life, you have to have a destination. And I always knew where I wanted to go in the business of pro wrestling, and no one else saw my vision. And it's hard for me to explain to people, but I can't explain it to people because they never lived the business in my shoes. Never saw it from the outside the box perspective I had just coming in the door. And then the first time they ever went on screen, they didn't spell out soft and then say how you doing the next taping and then open up every show on NXT and go on the stand. And then when you go to the WWE main roster, all these people introduce you to the world. Dude, when me and Big Cass went through the curtain, we were worried that no one would know our entrance. Worried sick. I thought I had to prove it on the microphone in between getting to soft.
Right.
Which is what I did with Bubba and Devon in the aisle, right? But that was the only part I thought in my head I had to knock out of the park because they're not going to know the beginning, but at least it's an introduction. So my theory on the business was simple, bro. You walk into a room, the most important thing you could do is introduce yourself. That's in every walk of life. That's why I did it every time I ever walked into a room in pro wrestling. I realized quickly that John Cena was making more money than anybody in the WWE, and that The Rock, in order to really make money in the WWE, you needed to make it as big as you possibly could in the WWE and then make it outside the WWE if you want that payday. Otherwise, glass ceiling, guaranteed glass ceiling. They have created a system in place that is unlike any other in all of the world of entertainment. And if you have to understand that, the wherewithal that I have in this understanding on the marketing tip, I explained to you the thing that I did with the leopard, right? But I also have this wherewithal and understanding that in like 1999, the early 2000s, Vince bought all the wrestling footage that ever existed. Why? Because he invested money in Hulu and Netflix was popping and just starting. Then Shane Story Lee went and started like a Netflix of China.
Japan, yeah.
But
Or Japan.
at the time, why would Ted Turner sell for $2 million all the WCW and NWA and all that library to Vince? Why? Because Vince either had insider knowledge. Mind you, his wife's in Donald Trump's cabinet. Okay? And his father ran fixed fights out of Madison Square Garden, which this is public knowledge. I'm not snitching on nobody.
Right.
This is public knowledge. Fixed fights. If the fight's fake and Bruno Sammartino's winning every night, and who's running that? Who's running it?
Right.
The mob. The mob runs Madison Square Garden. Probably still does. Okay? Fixed fights. Wrestling ain't real, but people think it is. Okay? Illegal money coming in hand over fist at the jump of this. Now we're talking about 1999, 2000s. Vince buys all the wrestling footage that ever existed. Why? Because he foresaw and had a vision that streaming was going to be the forefront of all digital advertisement. And to own all of this footage would implement, all his wrestling shit, all his, new marketing and frontiers and endeavors and sponsorships, and give him a place in an app, and boom, boom, boom. And look at where it's at now. And I remember I was in the company when we created the WWE Network and NXT switched from Hulu to the WWE Network. I was a part of that.
Yep.
It's a very significant time in our company. So I remember all the guys that I worked with who were in NXT talking about how we're going to, the payouts. How are pay-per-view payouts going to work now? Right?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Nothing happened.
What do you mean nothing?
Well, as far as the payouts go for the boys,
Payouts got a million times worse.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They now, because of the WWE Network and pay-per-view buys, can hide their numbers that they're doing and not pay out the boys the money that they should
Yeah.
get based on old school, booking.
Yeah.
So I understood that too, what it was going to do. All right. And I also understood who I was up against. Mob ties, dad, a wife in Donald Trump's cabinet, own all the history of wrestling footage ever. Why? Because of the network, the foresight to do something like this. That's a battle that I want to be a part of. I want to learn that. I want to learn how you do that more than I want to learn how you do the in-ring shit.
Right.
Because I was obsessed. I was in the ring with Norman Smiley, God bless his soul, from 6:30 in the morning until 8 p.m. And another tag team that I owe big shout out to in the beginning stages of wrestling was Dash and Dawson. Because Dawson, the first time I ever worked a match bell to bell, he called one on the fly to me, and we had the people in FCW standing on their feet because he took a kid that didn't know how to wrestle and was ragged on him around a ring, and I was selling. I understood what that meant. Pat Patterson came early. And if Pat Patterson comes down early to FCW, even if it's the first few months of my ears are on him, what is he saying? And Pat Patterson comes down and goes, sell, 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 sell. And I hear that a few more times, done. It's a double entendre. Sell. Sell, now sell wigs. Sell, now sell hats. Sell, now, bro, selling is where the money is. Now I realize also, I watch people kill themselves literally almost in front of 20 people in armories. And I did, hands down, the craziest shit I ever did in my career in the NXT years before WWE.
Right.
And probably before I broke my leg. Around that time. Nah, after I broke my leg, I still did crazy shit. But I realized, dude, hitting the ropes, tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hit toss C on the outside, dude, hit a tope, a dive, suicide dive, a moonsault off the top rope. That gets people going nuts, right? But you know what gets them going more nuts? You can't see me. Take the elbow pad off. Bang. Guy's got to lay down for an elbow. Guy's got to lay down 1, 2, 3 for the people's elbow. The most ridiculous. A leg drop. 5 knuckles shuffle. This is where the money is, guys. Do all the flips, dipsy doo-dahs, risk your life all you want. Been knocked out cold on pay-per-view. I've broken my leg. And watch this. You hit, you dance, do whatever you want. But I guarantee you, when I do this, people go a million times crazier than they would if I hit the ropes and did a dive. Guaranteed. I understood. When I take one step, I could tell this to a 7-year-old and a 70-year-old. One step. Little kids can do it. You see it on Sports Center now.
Yep.
Guys get put on the camera real quick at an NBA game, and they quick hit my dance move. That turned into an emoji.
How'd you get that?
The leopard turned into a wig. I dyed the sides of my hair leopard and talked to the merch guys through all my NXT years. Make a wig, make a wig, make a wig. Then I get a wig. What do I do with the wig? I put it on when I'm a heel. I get in the ring. I get super kicked and I throw it in the air. I fall out of the ring. The crowd goes nuts.
Yeah.
My opponent takes my wig, puts it on, and does my dance. Gets a bigger ovation than when I do my dance, which we've done twice. And we've gotten a better reaction than anybody else who did any dumb tackle, leapfrog, hip toss, headlock spot. Better reaction and all that. And then this time as a heel, he hits a dive, and I put the wig on and I throw it out to the crowd. Now the guy gets it. When I was a babyface, I would get the wig and I would give it to a kid.
Right.
It's like Bret Hart putting the glasses on. Who didn't want to be the kid in the front row getting the glasses from Bret Hart? Who didn't want to be him? It's a dream. You had to think about that. It's like, how many things can I go out there with? I got a foam hand, I got this microphone, I got a wig, I got my t-shirt, I'm giving it all away, and 4 or 5 people are walking out of here happy as shit. And then when I become a heel, I'm not wearing a certified G shirt anymore. I'm wearing Gucci and Louis and Supreme and why? because I'm the kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, Rolex wearing. You know, because why? Because now when I'm out with The Weeknd, I'm not just hanging out with him. I'm like, yo, take this pic with me real quick so I can drop it on Instagram. Drake, let me take this picture with you real quick. Drop it on Instagram. I'm a heel now. And I'm on TV that next weekend going, you weren't with Drake and The Weeknd this past weekend, and you go on my Instagram and boom, there I am. That's Ric Flair. You had to reinvent yourself in the character, but keep that gray area because that's what Vince loved. Vince wanted me.
Did he like your character? Did he get it?
I wouldn't be remiss to say that I think I was probably his favorite character he had on that show for about a year. I don't. Maybe he hated me. Maybe he thought it was the funniest thing. I don't know. But I was booked more than any other guy with the microphone on TV for a year. In a rookie year, me and Big Cass were the #1 merchandise sellers in the company, and that is what Vince likes. Money. So if Vince loves John Cena, why does he love John Cena? Because he's the top guy in the company. He makes money. He shows up to work every day, does his job to the best of his ability. Nobody can ever say that Enzo didn't show up to work and get his fucking ass kicked, hop up, and do it again the next night. You know? I was bringing... When I talked to Vince, the first time I ever talked to him, I brought him this book.
Right.
I said, for the past 4 years you've been investing in me, I want you to know that I haven't taken that lightly, and because I'm on salary in NXT, I've deemed that to be on the clock all day, every day. And because of it, I've written about 4,000 pages worth of material here, and everything that I've ever said on your television programming, I've highlighted. I make music, and this happened after I got knocked out cold on the pay-per-view. This is when I went to Vince. I said, I make music. And if I can never wrestle again, I want you to know that this is what I've been doing. And then I just shook his hand and I left. When me and Big Cass were working towards WrestleMania, you know,
The ladder match?
Every time me and Cass ever saw, you know, Vince, dude, I didn't want to do it. Everybody says have a relationship with Vince, talk to Vince. But I was like, bro, don't ask, don't tell, bro. Like, we see that guy, Cass, shake his hand, get the fuck back in the locker room, you know, go hide in the hallway, do whatever, you know, go fucking, you know, avoid this guy at all costs. But every time we saw him, he smiled and shook our hands and was just like, and then maybe he'd hit me with a punch on my way, I'd sell it, or hit a foot shuffle, dude. I don't fucking know. You know, when I saw him, I was always in character. Every time I saw him, I was in character. I never left the character.
Right.
So he didn't know the person. He never knew the person. I knew that I was Hunter's redhead stepchild, and Hunter will sit in a room, browbeat me, and tell me I'm about to be fired, and then the next night I get handed a microphone in the main event on fucking Monday Night Raw. It's like, Vince is the one calling the shots. So by the time I left NXT, I waited till about the time I went for my singles run. When I had my singles run, finally came the time. Me and Cass break up. We have the #1 ratings draw in NXT in the company in a calendar year that year, 2017, when me and Big Cass's final breakup scene, where I cry. Bro, a rookie year that the world introduces you, the NXT debuts and shit, and going around the world, $10.50 a week, I'd do it again. You know, to go back, not again now. But back then I would have done it for $10.50 a week. That's why I said it's the double-edged sword.
Did you have a good relationship with Steph?
When I wrestled the Hardy Boys for the tag team titles, who I idolized as a kid. I mean, I idolized these guys. The very next day it became business. As fucked up as that may sound.
Yeah.
I promise you, when I checked that off my bucket list, it was the worst thing they could have done for me. They shouldn't have booked me on that WrestleMania. So I probably wouldn't have showed up at Survivor Series and slammed the door shut and got my closure, because that was it. I wrestled the Hardy Boys at WrestleMania on the same card as The Undertaker. Got eliminated in the Royal Rumble by Brock Lesnar in the same one that The Undertaker was in. And the Hardy Boys come back to the loudest noise I've ever heard in my life, maybe to this day. You know? I'm sitting there like... Then, when that day came, I never cared about titles. I never had one. Never understood it, what it could do for you and your career. I never knew what it could do. But it bodes extremely well for Enzo the heel. Enzo the heel has the ability to be one of the greatest champions in the history of our business. Ever. Ever. Because I could talk it all day. And I'll make you fucking hate me more than anybody ever. You know why? Because I won't hit a single wrestling move in the whole match. I'll kick him in the nuts and pin him. And leave there with the title, and more importantly, the ability to say that I'm the best in the world. That's the best part about being a heel. Is if you're Ric Flair and you're begging off and you're like, no, don't hurt me, don't hurt me.
Right.
But then you low blow, 1, 2, 3, bleeding out the top of your head with a smile. And then the next night on Raw, you're like, I gave him the worst ass kicking of his life. And I'm the best in the world because I'm the champion. And he doesn't ever want to see me again because I mopped the floors with him and you all saw it, right? And then the guy comes out and you run out of the ring like a pussy. That, in essence, is the champion I wanted to be. I was like, dude, I do WrestleMania. Me and Big Cass don't have much of a storyline running, and I got to get the screws and the plate removed out of my leg. I won't get into details as to why I didn't do it, but I didn't end up getting them taken out. And I think it's as simple as understanding the pressure that is in pro wrestling. If I get screws and a plate taken out of my leg on $125,000 downside, I'm going to make the reflective of that on a 52-week basis. So I make $125,000 a year. I'm only going to make this money after 4 weeks when I get put on injured reserve, IR. 4 weeks I don't get paid. Now I'm on IR. But if I wrestle, I get paid.
Right.
And I get paid per show. And I get to be out there and sell merchandise. Now I'm going to take a 6-figure loss if I get these screws and plates taken out of my leg.
It's crazy you got to think like that, but yeah, I got you.
A 6-figure loss?
Yeah.
For this? Fuck this, man. And it was bothering me. And it always did bother me. And, you know, I should have gotten them taken out when I worked for the company, you know, but I didn't. And they're still on my leg. But that was why I was found attacked the first time backstage. And then that storyline evolved because it picked up so much steam. Who's been attacking Enzo? And then came the opportunity to make double the money by making Big Cass who he is. Me, I go on to 205 Live. So what I say to Vince is when they tell me that we're going to break up, because they told us we're breaking up, me and Cass. I was planning on going on injured reserve and Cass was going to have a singles run until I came back.
Right.
And then when I decided that I was not going to get the surgery and we had already started this mystery, it evolved to being Big Cass breaking up.
Were you guys for that together, or did
So
you think...
Vince pulled us into a room. He said, you're tweeting at Conor McGregor, and here's our plans for you with the Big Show. And he pulled us into a room, and he has me tweeting at Conor McGregor, and then I come to him, and I say, if this Conor thing's going to happen, it's got to be for a title. I want to join 205 Live. Here's my music. So I take music to Vince that I had been working on for 3 years now in the WWE. But I didn't tell anyone in the WWE besides Vince McMahon that I was making music because in NXT, Hunter, thank you, gave me an opportunity to get into the studio with the WWE to make music. I made my entrance song, right?
Right.
And then they wrote that, and I was like, fuck that, man. I'm not letting you write my music. So if you listen to Soft as a Sin, the song WWE made, at one point they go, you're soft, you're sloppy. You're calling me Poppy. I ride in the Benz, you're riding around to beat up jalopy. Women, you're hot like salsa. I'm soft like, no, I'm hot like salsa. You're soft like balsa. I call a guy up. I go, listen, bro, I don't know what this word balsa is. He goes, you know, kids make toy planes out of it. And I go, no, actually, when I was a kid, I was throwing rocks through fucking windows, bro. Why would you think Enzo Amore plays with fucking toy airplanes? If I'm going to use my tagline soft, I'm not going to accompany it with the word balsa. I refuse to say it. I don't say it. So if you listen to the song, there's some other voice comes in and goes, "You're soft like balsa," randomly in the song, because I refuse to say the line with the lyrics. I got a shit ton of heat for that. Here you are in NXT, you got a broken leg, and we're going to bring you back with entrance music, and you're telling us you're not going to say the words that we're writing for you? Got a ton of heat. But I was a live by the sword, die by the sword microphone guy. And I was like, I'm not saying it unless it's fucking me. And I got a lot of heat for that, bro. Not saying what they want me to say. Because I didn't believe in it. But you got to pick what hills you die on in the business. So, let's go back to the music. I go to Vince and I go, here's my music. It's all by Grammy-nominated producers. Because of the network I have and the people I know in hip-hop, I own it all. Grammy award-winning producers who charge Beyonce $25,000 for a beat are giving me all my music, signing over the rights to it. So everything that I've done here, I'm Shark Tanking you with. I own this. It's my property. Do you want to push it? Because if you don't want to push it, I'm going to do it no matter what. Vince says, I'm all in. 205 Live, coupled with the music, we start off doing tours, and we turn it into music tours and arena tours with pro wrestling combined. Now we're thinking Live Nation, who the WWE has on deck.
Right.
Live Nation, they do NXT shows around the country and around UK. We bring 205 Live to Live Nation. I perform my concert. We do our wrestling shows. Boom. Money. Because when you go to Vince McMahon, you better have a game plan. I have an S Corp in Delaware, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and I had a subsidiary LLC with my music that, 51% my sister's name. Should this backfire on me, I could put in my sister's name to protect my music and my intellectual property of it. So I followed Vince's business model out of the state of Delaware, where I followed it, and then I presented it to him. And I said, I want to go on tour, and here's my music. Next thing you know, I'm at the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight talking shit. I get the storyline with Neville, get the title, and we do it. We go on the first ever Cruiserweight title tour. And a week before the Royal Rumble, leading into probably what would have been a single, like not a whole album,
right?
Just like a single, and them getting behind my music, we would have worked it. Now, had they not wanted to buy my music, I still could have done music through them. But I had in play also conversations with XO, the Weeknd's manager, because he's a huge wrestling fan, Cash, and I had mentioned him to Vince and knowing him, and I had mentioned as well. I had mentioned also to Vince, Cash, and Spiff, and I brought a folder in this thick. And let's just say people weren't happy about me going over their heads to talk to Vince about this, but it was clearly happening if you watch the show. And then I started getting more liberties on a microphone. And I never didn't deliver. I'm sorry. You give me 4 minutes on that fucking mic. Say what you want, bro. The Rock had a writer. I love The Rock. I grew up loving The Rock. Okay? Stone Cold wasn't in the PG era. You know how cheap of a pop this is now? Stick the finger up in a WWE event if you're in the ring and listen to what happens in that arena. I wrote all my own shit, all of it, every fucking word of it. If it was ever bad, I can literally give you this real rationale. 85% of it, if it was bad, to 90 was them. The other 10, 15% was me. But if you have the talent to succeed without the guts to fail, you'll never have success. And wrestling is about going out there and trying things that fail and learning from that and then implementing it however you do.
100%.
And I learned more from watching Chris Jericho work with a scarf in the ring, with a fucking scarf in the ring, than I did probably as Enzo Amore. This is me talking, not
right.
like, it's not like I'm fucking, Neville. Or I'm not like, fucking, but who couldn't learn from this? Everyone can learn from this, but I'm not Ricochet, I'm not doing this shit. But With that. Oh. We in the hood. If you hear the horns, it's because we in the hood.
Yeah. You got to grab a bull by the horns.
So, if you really look at it in retrospect, dude, like Chris Jericho working with a scarf, bro, the way he carried himself and him having probably his best run in the WWE with the list, with the scarf. And all this happening while me and Cass go and wrestle Jericho and KO at SummerSlam 2.
Yep.
You know, like, watch it. Dude, I couldn't keep a straight face in the fucking ring when Jericho's like, watch it. You
Right.
know, if you watch it back, I'm like, dude, this is fucking... first of all, I'm in here with Chris Jericho, who's like one of my childhood heroes, and now I'm wrestling him at SummerSlam. Like, ridiculous. But you can learn so much by watching things that are different. I'm about to go out there right now. Tell whoever the fuck it is. Stop hitting that horn, dude.
I wonder who it is. Give me Kaz. Did you have
Hey, hit that horn one more time. We're going out there, and I'm hitting his fucking face with the horn like it's a turnbuckle, dude.
We'll film it.
I'm going to be giving buckles like Bailey.
Did you have heat with Stephanie?
Stephanie McMahon?
Yeah, did you guys get along?
Stephanie McMahon was so nice and kind to me.
Okay.
She was trained by Joe DeFranco every night.
Yeah.
Joe DeFranco, I have his name tattooed on my leg. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been in the WWE. I don't have anything bad to say about Hunter and about Stephanie. I think that fearfully, what Hunter was fearful of, in essence, happened. I think he was right. He was like fearful of you. Picture it like this, okay? Wrestling is scripted, and we make it what we want. The character I painted and portrayed myself as, Enzo Amore, is not Kurt Angle. But we can create a Kurt Angle if we wanted to. Kurt Angle had success because he brought the credibility of his previous endeavors as a freaking Olympian and an amateur wrestler to the table. So that made him viable. What made me viable was I was this person, in essence, kind of off screen, that I was on camera. But you had to be smart and hip to the business, and I knew that that wasn't my goal, my MO, and my end game. I could be this kind of worker, and I could wrestle Brock Lesnar. How do you paint this match? People don't understand that wrestling is not real. And what we do is scripted. And politics exists because guys got to go backstage, and if they're losing every night, they're not as popular. They're not winning. They're not on TV. They don't have a push. Okay? This means something to them. They have to politic. They have to conversate. They have to work. They have to talk to Vince. Why am I not getting this? Why am I not on TV? Why am I not? All me and Big Cass ever had to do was show up with microphones. Swear to God. And I never expected to win shit.
Right.
I never thought I'd win a title. You know, I was happy to be there. I couldn't believe they were giving me a microphone. You know, we didn't realize what we did until after, man. Like, until I retrospectively looked. You're in the wrestling bubble.
Yeah.
You're happy to, you know, have a job in the WWE and shit, you know? So I realized quickly, though, when I was heading towards the Cruiserweight Championship and I checked that box of a WrestleMania under my belt, that I had nothing further that I wanted to accomplish anymore. But by taking a brand in 205 Live on the road, that would be doing something that was never done before in the history of the business of WWE. And that is what, you know, what would have been my end game goals. Network buys went up, stock prices go up. You know, and Vince is happy. And if we're selling tickets to shows, we're making money. And if we're selling merch or whatever it is. And my job as the cruiserweight was to highlight all the other guys. It was not, it was a show to build the people around me into stars.
I have a question. Why do you think that 205 Live was never able to take off and really get over like NXT was?
It did. When I was on there.
Well, I know that.
We beat NXT in ratings.
As far as
facts.
Like,
hey.
No, I agree.
Hey, we beat NXT in ratings.
I agree.
For the first time and only time ever. I'm not lying to you. I'm backing the shit up with the facts. You know, Forbes writes articles and then WWE hands me scripts as a heel.
Right.
To say these statistics.
I'm talking about touring as a brand.
We did tour.
No, you guys did, but it never got over like NXT, obviously.
Because NXT has women, has giant men, and is giving you entertainment and high-speed wrestling and a niche market of wrestling as well that is popular.
Okay.
I think 205 Live,
One-dimensional?
no, once you added me, it was three-dimensional.
Well, yeah.
It was fucking...
You were the only character in there, so.
I wouldn't go that far at all, man. Gulak was great. You got to understand, a character is who you build him to be. And having me around allowed opportunity in backstage segments and character-driven episodes. I think Drew Gulak, when I was with him, I haven't seen anything that they've done since I left. So I don't know. I think Drew Gulak was great. You understand with me with wrestling, dude. I can tell it's fake when I see tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, Hurricane Rana, fucking jump off the top rope, do a flip, boom, boom, boom. Nah, we ain't doing that. You working with Enzo, we ain't doing that. All right? Sorry.
Right.
You know, yeah. When you're the top guy in the 205 Live locker room, you don't have to be an asshole ever. Ever. If you're me. All you do is be nice to people and highlight their shit. But I'm not doing it. Put your shit in the right place. And I tore it up with Kalisto and Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. You know, I remember Mustafa Ali was one of the nicest guys, man. He was a police officer. He gave a lot back to his community. And more importantly for me, what I loved about Mustafa Ali was that he wanted to shed light on the negative connotation that was so vastly, on a worldwide level, affiliated to his religious beliefs and his cultural differences that existed. He was a peaceful, kind human who believed in the law and enforcing it and doing what's right in the world. But he wanted to shed light on that. And I admired the shit out of it. And here was a young guy who was just trying to make it in 205 Live and trying to get over and trying to figure those things out. And he could work his ass off. So I went to the writers and I told them I wanted to work with Mustafa Ali after Neville quit.
Right.
And we were going to get to him after Cedric Alexander. But what happened was when Neville didn't show up to the live event in Dallas, Texas, the place that I debuted, we had 20,000 strong on a live event. Sold out house. Brock Lesnar, I think, might have been on the card. We're at Dallas, and I show up, and I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, Neville quit. Who are they sending?
Right.
Who are they sending to 205 Live for the title match on the card? There's an 8-match card. Me and Big Cass used to be one of those matches. If you're booking an 8-match card, heavyweight title, intercontinental title, right? Or U.S. tag team title match, women's title, that's 5 matches. We got 3 more matches. What are they? Enzo Amore and Cass, song and dance, cloud participation match. We take a match route right away. Never give Enzo and Cass titles. Why would we need them? Unless we want to thin the card out, put the tag team titles on us because there's another hot storyline that maybe opens up 4 matches on a card. So we never needed them at NXT, and we were the opening act, and that was awesome. Sorry. We get to the 205 Live bit, and I'm out there with these guys, man, and Mustafa Ali shows up to Dallas, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm working Mustafa Ali. This is dope. The people in the crowd don't know who Mustafa Ali is, and I'm a heel, so I go out there and I do my regular shtick. My name is Enzo Amore. I'm a certified G, the whole bit. Bada boom, real sky. How you doing? First it's, Dallas, how you doing? They answer me back, yeah. Now I'm a heel at this point, but that gray area, when my music hits and I come out, everybody still sings along. They sing along, even though they know I'm a bad guy. But I'm still in that gray area a little bit. I go out, Dallas, how you doing? You're supposed to say terrible. You know why? Because you're stuck in Dallas. Boo!
Right.
Now, for the next 2 minutes, I talk about Mustafa Ali being a nobody. But during that time, I say his name like 5 times, Dusty Rhodes. Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali. Every 4 corners in the ring I hit with Mustafa Ali. So that I'm looking at the crowd and engaging everyone up and down and saying his name 4 times in every corner. And then I hit the Ali Boombaye for Muhammad Ali, right?
Right.
That's a real popular thing. Ali Boombaye. Ali Boombaye. Ali Boombaye. Go out there in the match. with Mustafa Ali, this guy that I just talked about, how he has no chance in the world and no snowball's chance in hell against the best in the world. I am the best. It is not even a question. I'm about to wipe the floors with this guy. Don't be surprised if it's 8 seconds. Don't take a bathroom break. You come back, this one's going to be over. Well, I get this guy in the ring. What do? 1965, bro. Dusty Rhodes, yeah. Strength test, right? Kick him in the stomach, bro.
Right.
You wish, people. You think he's strong? I'm standing on the top buckle going like this. You think he's stronger than me? Big, so the people up top can see it. Big. You think he is stronger than me? Boo! Then Mustafa Ali goes up on the buckle. But we haven't touched each other, and I've talked for 5-10 minutes.
Right.
He goes like this. The crowd cheers him, boos me. All right, I'll show you strong. Here, boom, 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 right?
Right.
Catch him. Headlock. Dirtbag. Haha, you see me? I didn't strike. No, I kicked him in the stomach and I took his fucking head. Now I'm about to put on a technical spectacle for you people. I'm talking to everybody in the front 10 rows that can hear me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm loud, bro. I hit the ropes. I give him one tackle, I think. It's the only move I hit in the whole match. The whole time. Kick to the stomach. Grab the headlock. I hit him with the bump, right? I got the wig on. So then it ensues into a chase spot with the wig, with me with the wig on. What I do is I do my dance. Okay? When I do my dance, that entices a good guy to come get me.
Right.
I roll out of the ring and I run around in a circle maybe twice, depending on how I'm feeling or if I want to fuck with the guy who's chasing me. I'll run around 3 times. What is this? This is different than any other match you've watched on the show. Any other one. That's why I'm doing it. I could do the spots, bro. I promise you I can hit a Rana. I promise you I can hit a vertical suplex. I promise you I could jump off the top rope. That's not where the money's at. So I run around the ring. When I get in the ring, I slide in to avoid him. When I come back to the ring, he kicks me with one of them Pele kicks from the buckle, and I throw my wig as high as I can in the sky, and I fall like a knockout punch. Like, I mean, I drop dead.
Right.
And people die of laughter. When he goes to try to pin me, I kick out on 2, and then I roll out of the ring. And then that leaves Mustafa Ali in the ring. And I'm on the outside, and what does he have in the ring? My wig.
Yep.
He puts my wig on, and I turn around. I had previously done my dance, and he chased me. Now he does my dance. What? Are you kidding me? I'll shake the guardrail and talk shit to the person in the fucking row right there, right? I point at him big, and I chase him. I slide into the ring. He's got my wig on, right? I chase him, and as I run at him, I grab the wig, and he moves, and I fall out of the ring, right? I fall out of the ring. Now I'm in the aisle way. Now I'm in the aisle, and he's G'ing up the crowd. He's going to hit his dive.
Right.
Right? But I got my wig back. You know? It's the only thing I care about in the aisle. Ha-ha, you see this, kid? You couldn't have this. Whoa! Big flip. Boom. Right? Kid flips. I go into the ring. He gives my wig to a kid that I was pretending I wasn't going to give it to. When he comes to get me, I beg off like Ric Flair. Crawl to the title holder, who's JoJo, a girl. This is going to get me heat. Grab the title. I'm pulling it from JoJo, right? I get it from her, but Mustafa Ali's pulling my leg in, right?
Right.
Right? The referee's like, you got to drop the title, you got to drop the title. Okay, I'll drop. Drop. Kick him in the nuts when nobody's looking. What do I do next? No wrestling move. I didn't actually usually do that. I usually would have a guy reaching over the top buckle, and I would push his ass.
Right.
Because I was on the outside of the ring, and he'd grab me by the hair, you know? The old fucking, oh!
Right.
You know, pull me up. And I got the title. So drop the title. When I drop the title, I ass over tea kettle, he falls to the outside. And I fall in the ring like this. I did it. Thank God. Now, he works the count. I don't put a single hold or wrestling move on him the whole time. I work him for a 9 count. No, he gets in at 7. But while he's on the outside, I'm telling everybody while I'm marching around the ring, I'm the best wrestler in the fucking world, dude. Then when he gets in the ring again, I cover him. 1, 2, he kicks out. I pick him back up, throw him back out of the ring. Beat it this time, pal. 9 seconds. Are you shitting me? You got out this time? You kidding me? All right. I'll lay him down. I go climb up to the top buckle. I'm going to hit my move. I just walk down. People wish. I ain't jumping off the top rope. Schoolboys me out of nowhere, right into his comeback. Boom, boom. Flying everywhere, right? At the end of the match, I go for that title again. Right?
Right.
This time, when the referee turns his back, I pull the ring apron into the ring. So now the ring apron's in the ring. Because I couldn't get the title, I pull the ring apron. The referee goes to fix the ring apron. I poke him in the eyes. 1, 2, 3 with the tights. Roll out of the ring. I hit a tackle at the start of the match and a kick to the stomach that I grabbed the headlock with. I didn't hit a single move the entire time. And we showed everything that he could do. But the most important reason why I told you everything about this is run it down. Is because when I left the ring, they were chanting Bamba Ali.
You got him over.
That's what our business is about.
Yep.
It's not a selfish business. It's not about going out there and me doing cool moves. I'd be selfish to do cool moves. I get a microphone every night. What are you going to hand Kalisto a microphone with his mask on and have him be animated? And no, let's go out there and get Kalisto's moves in. Have it look like I had no chance in hell of beating this guy. Yeah. I pulled this out with the skin of my teeth. That's how he start me off. But understand, it's pro wrestling and it's scripted and it's fake. The same guy, Enzo, that talks all that shit, you could give me a knockout punch, a one-punch knockout. That's unlike any... It's the Weaver Lock! Dusty Rhodes. The Weaver Lock! When he gets that Weaver Lock, it's over! Bro, give Enzo a one-punch knockout.
You get it over.
Now, not only that, do that with me from the start. What do you have in the business? A deadly force who can talk this shit on a microphone. I could play any character in that regard. If you wanted me to be, per se, at a time, Tyler Breeze, I could have done that. You wanted me to be in the Wyatt family, I could have done that. But they allowed me and afforded me the opportunity to base largely my character on myself and the kids I grew up around North Jersey with, particularly my mover buddy, the Mav.
I want to backtrack just a little bit before the 205. You and Kaz, you had your little program. And I guess what happened with the ACL, he tore, I guess it was the street fight. And he tore his ACL. And what was your reaction to that injury when it was happening? Because you went on Twitter, I guess the next night, and you kind of buried him.
I buried him on text, in person, on Twitter. And I think that the most important thing that we take out of this is that in life, you just never know what somebody else is going through. You can't put yourself in somebody else's situation, whether that be physically or mentally.
Right.
Because you don't know how they react to things or what's going on. And in my mind, at that time,
because when
I wanted to see Casco be U.S. champ or be Intercontinental champ.
Right.
And I knew I was going to 205 Live. And I knew what I was about to do, get the title. And it would have made the most sense in the world in business to cross paths again for us. I saw the opportunity to finish a match. This is how fucked up pro wrestling is. This is how fucked up it is. It is a masculine-driven business where Vince McMahon will never ask you to do something that he wouldn't do. Thing is, he pretty much do anything, right? Triple H is in a sharpshooter with a torn quad, right? You know, Vince Stone Cold gets paralyzed and you know gets rolled up, ugliest schoolboy in the history of the business on Owen Hart, right? You finish the match. That's what we were always taught. Well, dude, go to a boxing fight. The boxing fights end with guys being knocked out on their feet. They stop them early, okay? Sports and mindset ain't the same anymore, okay? They want to protect you in your head in CTE, or at least they tell you they do.
Right.
In sports and football and basketball, baseball, wrestling, no different. In my mind, in my wherewithal, in my badassery of the alpha male locker room, I say, I'm going to go and finish a match unless you drag me out of the ring or it's on fire. And you're still going to have to pull me out. And I always, you know, but then again.
The concussion, they stopped the match for you, though.
The concussion, they stopped the match for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then you go down to this day and age, bro. You tear an ACL in your cast, the referee wanted him to stop. The referee got the relay from the guys inside, stopped the match. Right? Cass rolled out of the ring and tore his ACL and was extremely upset about it. And I, in my mind, said, Cass, fuck the ref, dude, let's finish. We're on live TV. And we didn't finish. We had a difference of opinion, but Cass tried to finich the match.
I remember,
with his torn ACL. He tried. And then when it went again on him, he rolled out and they told him to stop it. In my mind, in that, dude, I'm adrenaline rushing in the ring, dude. The finish to the match, I'm jumping off the top rope, eating a boot onto a steel chair out of the air. Now, have you ever seen a guy get booted out of the air? You know how terrible that looks?
Yeah.
I'm willing to take that on the chair. I'm willing to have Big Cass throw me down the ramp. If you remember, I did that. Had him gorilla press me and throw me down the ramp. Nobody's ever done that. When I suggested it, Vince was like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, it's worth it, bro. Let's fucking do it. In my mind, in that moment, I'm like, I don't care if I have a torn ACL, I'm finishing the fucking match. This is the biggest blow-off in the year. Literally. 2017, biggest Raw ratings draw was me and Cass breaking up. And now we fast forward to SummerSlam. I'm going to 205 Live the next night. He's going his way, and we implement this on there. I thought to myself, dude, you could have walked out of this arena a monster and came back in 9 months, and you would have made yourself. They would have never been scared to invest money in you. But then you got to think about it from his perspective. I tore my ACL. I just rolled out of this thing. And, you know, I don't know what's going on in his mind at that time because I'm not him. So I look at it in retrospect, and it was probably the most masculine driven thing that I did in all my years and time in the WWE, where I didn't take into account other people's feelings.
Do you regret it? Going on Twitter and all?
No, I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it at all because the wrestling world is a crazy, wild world. And to sit here and tell you that you need a little venom in your bite. If you don't have that venom in your bite, if you're scared of people, if you're walking around on eggshells, you're never going to be the top guy in the company. You're never going to run a business of your own. You're never going to build your own brand to be what it is. And, you know, I told you before, when I said my name in the likes of the Stone Colds and the Rocks and these people around me would look at me like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? Well, somebody has to be that guy. But not only that, somebody else has to be Vince. So I knew after I got knocked out cold on TV that I never wanted to not be on stages or to do entertainment or comedy or acting or music. And I saw The Rock and what he was able to do in Hollywood and continues to do, and he's the highest. And that comes from what? Comes from global marketing. That's from being a global entity, which the WWE did so well for me in building my brand. I go to Japan, I go to China, I go to Afghanistan, I hear my name is Enzo Amore, I'm a certified G. And they say it back in every type of accent you could ever imagine. Whoa. Dude, I could have never imagined that. Are you fucking kidding? Like, dude. So I couldn't have done this shit without the WWE. I couldn't be where I'm at right now. I'm not going back. I have no plans to get back into a wrestling ring. You know, that's a lie. I have plans to get into a ring, but not for any promotion. I have something for wrestling fans that I think is going to be very enticing. And as we sit here with these visuals behind you, just know that I'm up to no good.
I still have other questions regarding Kaz. After you went on Twitter.
We're on the clock here. We got about a half hour at the most.
All right, we can go a half hour. What did Kaz say to you after you went on Twitter?
I never knew. Never asked. One thing about me, man, is I drove alone in wrestling. Now, I told you this when you texted me. I said, bro, I never knew what a shoot interview was.
Right.
I went down there, and I remember Big Cass was living with Dean Ambrose. One day they came, called me over to the house. No, Cass called me and asked me if I want to come over. They were watching shoots. And I was like, what the fuck is shoots? I go over there, and they're watching an RF video of Jim Cornette talking shit, which was hilarious. And it's, who, by the way, Jim Cornette, big fan of Enzo. Loves me. Yeah. So, they're watching these video, and I quickly realized what it is, dude. Like I'm sitting there with C.J. Parker, Juice Robinson, and Baby Vader, and Big Cass, and Martin Stone, Jody Christopherson, and Dean Ambrose, and they're watching Shoot, and I'll never forget. And it was Cornette, and it was funny, but all it was burials. He was burying everyone and talking shit about people. Now I already told you, growing up, if I had to explain to people that I'm wearing spandex and getting my ass kicked on TV, get beat 8 seconds. Get disowned. Get disowned. Breaking my leg was the best thing that ever happened to me in wrestling because it afforded me the opportunity to wear Jordans, a doctor's note, which I infiltrated a niche market, and then I got the Champ Sports involved. That was my doing, a deal I brought to the WWE's table, and then I ended up getting my own Jordans made. And everybody that was in the business of pro wrestling shunned me for not wearing wrestling boots. My boss wanted me to wear tights, and I told him, bro, I just broke my leg. I got skinny legs. I got to wear fucking loose pants. What do you mean?
All right.
So now all of a sudden I'm wearing the loose pants and the Jordans, and I get to be me more. And I infiltrate a niche market and transcend pop culture through sneakers and bring new eyes to the product who they continue to have a relationship with, including custom sneaker makers like shout out my man Mosh, who now has a clothing line with the WWE that they sell at Foot Locker and they sell at Champs. Who brought that there? Who did that? It was foresight. It was marketing. It was doing the dance with the shoes on, having leopard in my hair, selling wigs, having this. I just marketed myself differently than any other wrestler, and because of it, we were blessed, me and Big Cass. And trust me, I could not have done this without Big Cass. If we learn anything from this today, went great together, you know, PB&J as far as dialogue is concerned, but more importantly, visually. Let this guy talk his shit and this big guy stand behind him and back it up. Now, this is wrestling, and we write the show. So we could write Enzo being a badass if we wanted to. We could do whatever we want, and it might take a little time. Understand, wrestling fans. You could turn Daniel Bryan into one of the Wyatt family members. You could turn Kane into the brother of The Undertaker and then take him out of the mask,
right?
You know, and turn Isaac Yankem DDS into Kane, and you could blow Vince up in a limousine. I mean, bro, people talk like nothing's possible. I think that's why Vince liked maybe me and Cass, or you know, definitely liked me, because at the end I had an open door, walk in and out, and maybe Vince hated it, but I went in there and I said, hey, no, I'm doing this, I'm saying that, and you know, if it really meant something to me, but you know, it's just those little things that make the difference. I think it's the Dusty Rhodes doing this, you know, Dusty, you know, ooh, hey,
right.
You know, like that's it. The Ric Flair with the walk, right? Those are the things that you need to see, man. That's me emulating an MJ Jumpman logo when I hold the microphone up like this, like Jordan in front of Big Cass. It's the little things that guys just walk out of the aisle a lot, wrestlers, and they go, well, they walk down.
I got a lot of other key things I want to hit on real quick. I would be a horrible interviewer if I didn't ask you about the incident that happened during the 25th. Well, it happened before, prior, but you walked into the 25th anniversary of the Raw show, and stuff kind of went south.
So south?
Well,
how the fuck did it go south?
Well, no, I mean just a
south
period of time that.
You're in North Jersey right now, dude. You want to go south? Get the
Well, we
fuck
went
out of
north.
here. What the hell are we talking about?
That night when you went into the anniversary show, what exactly happened? Like in your world?
Want to see a great shot of that? So David Weintraub, who's a guy I know, he manages Ray J, and he just happened to be sitting right behind me.
This is for what?
Look at his view. So this is going to prove to you that I never left my feet, Lisa. How you doing, babe? Come on, we got to get this thing loaded up.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about... I'm talking
about Survivor Series.
No, I'm talking about the 25th anniversary show where you...
So we're talking about Survivor Series.
That's my second thing. That's my second...
Clearly.
We were going to talk about that. It's my second big thing we're going to talk about.
I ain't talking about that shit.
Okay,
so hear this, okay? I already touched on that on the Stone Cold podcast.
Fine. All right.
Try me, Steve. So this guy had a few too many Steve Wises before he walked in here. I think I'm talking about that shit. Understand, I made Real One, music,
Yep.
Phoenix, Bury Me a G. Phoenix, Bury Me a G, answer your questions.
All right.
Every single lyric, if you break it down, you know.
I had to ask, so...
Phoenix and that, and then I answered those questions on the Stone Cold podcast. The reason why I put out music as Enzo now is because that shadow of real one music was because, first of all, copyright shit I had to deal with at the time and trademark. But when you Google my name with music and all the things that I'm going to be doing going forward, I feel like that was a chapter that I shut that day.
I hear you.
And Phoenix answered all the questions. Just knocked down. I found out like y'all did. I was backstage. Tweet goes out. I send a phone call to my fucking lawyer right there on the spot. Vince McMahon pulls me into his office. Go home. Next day, get fired. Bang. On the phone from Mark Carano. And I quote, I said, "It's your loss, not mine." And I'm gonna prove that every day of my life. I prove that every day. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're doing as far as numbers and ratings go right now. You would probably know better than I would. But, the AEW thing going on, and apparently, I don't think they're doing so hot. WWE. 205 Live, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't watch the shit. But I know. Oh, I watched Finn Balor, Brock Lesnar.
What'd you think of it?
Finn's my brother. I'm not talking about it. So I love Finn.
Right.
I just wanted to watch him. So I watch Juice Robinson work a lot.
Is New Japan stuff you're talking? There's recent stuff.
It's New Japan mostly, but it's just if it's a YouTube video and I type in Juice Robinson, it's a match, I'll watch it. It doesn't matter what the hard cam view is or whatever it is. He's just the homie, and I always admired him so much because the environment was extremely, extremely toxic in NXT. Okay? Extremely toxic. And you had no freedom, really. It was hard to creatively and to get over. And, he said, "Fuck you, Triple H, fuck you, WWE. I'm going to New Japan, living in a dojo, and I'm going to make it there." And he did it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I fucking love that.
Take us through Survivor Series. You just kind of showed me a little video of it. What was through your mind? Like, how did you come about?
For one, Lisa never took me off my feet, and I didn't see it coming. And had I had a broken ankle, that would have been very bad for you, Vince. Very bad.
What was your mindset going into that? Did you plan that?
Oh, I've been planning that, bro. I've been planning that. It was, they called me, by the way.
Afterwards.
The E.
Yeah, after.
No, before.
Okay.
They called me before
To
I
do
made
business.
Survivor Series. Fuck if I know.
Okay.
The 203 number called me a couple times. My voicemail's full. Thank you very much, babe. And I have no idea what they wanted. But I knew what I was going to do, so I wasn't going to answer the phone. Man, it's simple, bro. As I've sat here and explained to you so much about marketing and the character of Enzo and how I marketed him, do you people have any idea how much money it costs if you're a business on a marketing advertising level trying to trend in the top 5 worldwide? And how much more powerful that is than cable numbers on commercials?
It was super smart. I give you that. It was amazing.
So why'd I do it?
Of course, I know why.
Because I beat Survivor Series and many things in many facets in trends. Trended number 1 worldwide and had things going on and said about me in articles. Understand. If they typed it and you read it on Reddit, then I probably manifest it. So anything that you say about me, good, bad, or indifferent, I know is already going to happen. If I show up to Survivor Series, I understand the backlash and the repercussions of my actions. On a media front, in a locker room front, in the world of wrestling, and what smart marks and people who have negative things to say about me and people who already have their opinions about me, what they're going to say. There's nothing I can't conquer. There's nothing I can't conquer. That was pro wrestling. That's what that is. I beat, first of all, there was never a case. The police never called me, ever, in my whole life, for pertaining to incidents in my life since signing with the WWE. I've never even been contacted by the WWE once. All I ever did was show up to work every day and do my job to the best of my ability with that fucking microphone. And that just happened to be the best in the world at a certain point in time. Okay? So you can hate on me for that. Go ahead, but it was a job. And this is no different. I'm my own boss now. BYOB, motherfucker. Be your own boss. Not bring your own beer. That's what you should have done, Rob. You see how you had a few Steve Wise's too many before you walk in here asking me fucking fugazi questions. So, you know, I did it for a very, very few reasons. The next day, they're going to sit in on a meeting at Monday Night Raw, and they're going to go over all their trends and topics, and I'm going to pop up on there, and they don't have a choice. And then they're going to see that I did better numbers as far as statistically speaking than any other wrestler that was on that pay-per-view. Now look at Paul Heyman. Look at ECW. Now take this back to the 90s. WCW, Dusty Rhodes. Take this back. I'm one fucking man. One man purchased a $2,500 ticket, showed up in a wig, and stood up on a chair and got thrown out for that. Broke no laws. Broke no laws. So if you tell me, if you're into marketing, you tell me, break no laws, have no repercussions for your actions, for $2,500 you're going to trend worldwide.
It's genius.
Kiss my ass, everybody. Y'all can talk your shit. Guys who are in the ring, no disrespect. There's a reason why I did it before the bell rang. But there's also a reason why I didn't do it. I thought that the Cruiserweights were going to go on next. And instead, the tag team match came out. I wasn't going to sit there for the whole tag team match because I was made. I was on Twitter already trending.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law sent it to me, and I'm sitting in the front row. I'm like, I got to reveal now. And I didn't want to do it while guys were working, and I didn't want to do it during their entrances. So I waited for entrances over, ding, 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 now do it, and then match begin. But let's just face it, bro. Dude, y'all can kiss my ass. I ain't got no gripes with the WWE. I bought a ticket to watch your show. I wore a wig. You want to hate on it? Go ahead. It just so happened that I double entendre dropped the album that I was working on with the WWE. And not by working on it, not in their studios, it's not their beats, it's not their shit, but it was the music I was going to pitch and sell to Vince. So that music is 2 years old, 3 years old. It may never have ever saw the light of day. But I did something else in music that people do not have the balls to do. I dropped music without anyone in the world hearing it before. And broke all the rules as far as dropping music goes. And no one helped me write a single word or piece of content, and I own it all. Every bit of that money for that music comes to me. Why? Because I was initially planning on selling it to Vince. Now I'm sitting on it. So the only music that I made after was Phoenix, Bury Me a G, a song called Copy and Paste that's on there.
Right.
Only because DJ Relent is my producer, and I wanted to get a DJ Relent record on my first shit because he's one of my best friends. And I didn't have any records with him on there. They're all pretty much Foreign Tech, who's a producer. Big shout out Tech Mechanics. He made Bryson Tiller Exchange, Dice Pineapple, Rick Ross, and the guy I'm working with now, Miles William. Big shout out Miles, Robbie Fillet, aka Robbie Max. These guys produce Beyonce, Lemonade, Lil Wayne, the Carter 5, Let It All Work Out. So the music that I make at that point in time was contingency. I couldn't say a lot. I couldn't curse a lot. I couldn't talk about certain subjects. And Phoenix, Bury Me a G. And now I released my first single and music video, Grace, with zero marketing. So I did this thing, and I did Rosemary's Baby. But then I just dropped a music video on Instagram. And I dropped Grace.
Right.
Grace comes out. It came out on December 21st, right? It's over like 230,000 views or something like that now. That's all organic. I didn't pay for a view. I didn't do any marketing at all. That's just people like the song and they're clicking it and they're listening to it. And I take all that money and I own it, just like Vince owned his shit, right? So now I'm working on a new enterprise in entertainment. And you'll see that facet as we go towards WrestleMania. And I have a bigger reveal and a big announcement towards WrestleMania season that I think people
Only a few months away.
will really enjoy.
If Vince McMahon or Hunter were to call you tonight or tomorrow, what would you want to say to them?
I wouldn't answer the phone.
It's amazing.
Fucking nuts. I blocked their numbers.
It's amazing.
The day I got fired. Now, mind you, I told you I'm never going to say a bad thing about them or anything like that, but you have to understand my perspective, bro. I opened up every single show on NXT. I broke my back. I took 205 Live on the road. I worked for the company for 6 years. And while you might have gotten mad at me over the years for standing up for what I believe in on a political level without ever saying anything about politics, by just excommunicating myself from a locker room of people that held wrestling court and held beliefs where you drive in a car. I never heard about this shoot interview stuff, so I had to drive alone. I'm not going to sit in a car with a bunch of men and talk shit about other men. Enzo, don't do that. I'll say the shit right to your face. I don't give a fuck. Okay? I am not going to talk about other men. I'll talk about your work when we're working and shit like that. Whatever. But I only hung out with like 3 or 4 wrestlers on a consistent basis, but I was friends and nice with all of them.
Right.
I just chose to sit in a room by myself and write my music and listen to my headphones and write this stuff while you guys were shooting the shit in the locker room about wrestling or your match.
If you were able to say anything to your critics, what would that be?
Keep hating, man. The ones that want to hate. You are literally helping me, and you don't know that. So thanks for helping me. But to the fans that support me, who have afforded a kid from North Jersey who didn't know shit about wrestling the opportunity to go out there and say soft, and every other person who ever repeated soft, thank you, bro. Thank you. I could not have done this shit without you. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now by making music, doing comedy, homing a podcast now, homing an entertainment and digital enterprise with content, and doing the things that I'm doing, man. I'm just so blessed, bro. I mean, I can't even begin to explain it, you know? Like, I never thought I would come back to Jersey. I left home at 18, on and off till about 22, 23.
So you're no longer in California?
So I lived in LA the past 2 years,
So I've
bro.
been following you on Instagram. I saw your...
Past 2 years, I lived in LA. I came home to do a meet and greet in Times Square the night I was vindicated by the police. Port came out and backed up every word I fucking said. So any person that ever wants to talk shit about me, go ahead and look at the fucking police report before you talk your shit. Read that. I saw 4,500 people show out in Times Square, bro, with a week of marketing. And how did I market it? I archived my Instagram and I went number 10 worldwide in trends by breaking a 5-month social media silence, right?
Yep.
And then the next week, I posted a picture of my Jordans hanging in a telephone wire, letting the world know I'm fucking done. Then the following week, I get vindicated. What are the odds of that? I put that shit out, and I get vindicated with this police report a week after I have the shoes on the wire because I'm so fed up. I'm breaking my social media silence with or without the police report because I don't care. I'm dropping Phoenix, the music video, and I'm letting the world know that I'm swinging back because I am not going to fall victim to this. Me too? Me who? Fuck are we talking about? You know?
Right.
So I'm like the first guy in the history of the business in entertainment to come out like that. I was the first one. Said, fuck you back. You know? And to anyone that doubted me. That's the point of that, right? People took the opening of Phoenix and were like, oh, you're making fun of wrestling fans. Like, I'm not making fun of wrestling fans, you assholes. I'm making fun of people who jump to conclusions, who literally have no live, who sit at home and watch wrestling and report on it and think they know what's going on. I just broke down enough in this interview as far as insight into a wrestling match and marketing for you to actually understand. Okay, that's the point of this interview. I've never done a shoot interview. I've never done an interview with wrestling fans who are really, really into this product, who love wrestling,
Right.
who now can understand from my perspective how I did these things. You know, introduce yourself every time you walk in a room. Make sure they remember you, right? Be different. Be different. Sell. Make everything look different than any other person ever. When I take a boot to the face, I want to fall different every time, never the same. Okay? Nobody else did that. People bumping feet for a comeback and shit like that. I'll bump, fall frontways, bump, fall sideways, bump on my back. You know what I mean? Then, you know, it's I mean, am I turning a page in my life? Dude, this was the biggest blessing in disguise I ever received in my life was that girl. Because nobody in the business really gets to say that they went out on top.
It's true.
Not only did I go out on top, I explained to you guys my whole run and how it happened. Bro, what happened? Happened at the blink of an eye. 6 years, so worth it, so worth it. I can't thank the world enough. I'm blessed, bro. So now I'm making music, and it does mean a lot to me. And my grandmother's sick. I released a song called Grace with zero marketing because I wanted my grandmother to see it, and I didn't have the time to market this song. I'm in LA for 3 years, living with my best friends from high school. We had 8 friends die pill overdoses up here in Jersey. 2 of my best friends had the head on their shoulders. We dap each other up. They go to LA. I'll go to Florida, try to be the wrestler. If I don't make it there, I'll meet you out there to Hollywood. I'll do the movies and shit. Sure enough, I stayed true to my word 5 years into my run. 4.5 years. I moved out to LA with my best friends from elementary school. We got a house in the hills. All of us work. We went wild. I had the time of my life, dude. I was bringing the title with me into fucking the hottest nightclubs in New because I knew that TMZ was going to be. I put them there. I know that the guys in the business don't understand that.
Right.
People get mad at me. I called. No, I didn't call. Dude, I'm with the Kardashians people, bro. I'm out at nightclubs, and they're tipping off TMZ. Enzo's going to be outside with his title. At the time, I'm drinking, and I don't care.
Right.
And I walk out on screen. That's some Ric Flair shit. And what do you know? I do an interview with Corey Graves. I see it, and they put the fucking TMZ interview on it. Clearly, I know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? You can hate on it all you want, but it's working. You know what I mean? So my thing was, in wrestling, I took a lot of advice. A lot. And I owe so many people so much for that advice, bro, at the beginning. When I talked to Stone Cold the night before I fucking debuted on TV, that was the only piece of advice I ever needed. He said, your only job is to get over. Fuck everyone.
And you did.
Fuck everyone.
That could be the title of your book. Fuck everyone.
I'm not fuck everybody, bro. I'm just understanding that nobody else in the locker room is going to pay my electric bill. The fans are. So how do we give back to them and give them what they want to the best of our ability? And you know, you got to take your hat off to the wrestling fan, man. They've kept me afloat without. You know, I think if you said to somebody a year ago, will Enzo make it a year without wrestling? We're just coming up a week past the year now.
Yeah.
How many wrestlers in WWE or ever can say that they stepped away from wrestling for a year when they were at the height of their run and didn't get back in the ring for a calendar year and made 6 figures?
It's true.
I'm blessed. It's ridiculous. I thank God every day. I go to church on Sundays.
Well, I want to thank you for being here. It was a great interview. And obviously, I wish you the best of luck in the future. And I want to see what you have else to bring to the table. It's going to be interesting.
Well, if you like this visual here, just picture a few familiar faces sitting in those chairs, maybe, and a lot of working out and a lot of hands up and shit like that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. So it's going to be a very good year. Thanks again.
Enzo's out.